Immortal Cultivation begins with gaining a superhuman constitution. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176 Immortality. Hearing their conversation, Su Poman smiled faintly, feeling strangely moved. These two girls, in a flash, without alerting any servants, Su Poman arrived directly at the sisters' door. Knock. 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 At the knock, Kahir and Ruzu stopped playing and looked towards the door. Who had come to see us so late? Could it be Butler Joe? Ruzu asked curiously, her brow furrowed. Kahir pushed Ruzu away from her arms, straightened her clothes, and stood up to open the door. A creak. The wooden door swung open, and Kahir, as usual, looked up from below. She caught sight of a pair of exquisitely crafted boots, startling her. "It's not Butler Joe, Kahir," a familiar voice called out, and Kahir's eyes lit up, and she looked up. She saw Su Poman gazing at her with a beaming smile, and her heart was instantly filled with excitement. This face was the one she had been thinking about day and night and was haunted by, but now it actually appeared in front of her. Kahir was a little bit unbelievable. She rubbed her eyes and said in a soft voice, "Young master." As she said that, she couldn't help but fly over and directly got into Su Poman's arms. "You are finally back with one, you full of arms." Su Poman was stunned for a moment, and soon another figure rushed over. "Young master, why are you back now?" The two lovely little girls in his arms kept arching their bodies. Looking closely, one of them had red eyes and the other had already been in tears. Such a deep sense of dependence suddenly made Su Poman feel a little more guilty. "I'm back, and this time I want to take you with me. Are you willing?" He gently patted the smooth backs and necks of the two and asked in a low voice. "Master, I am willing. Yes, I am willing to follow you anywhere." The night dragged on, with only the faint chirping of the orioles beneath the flowers, the gurgling springs beneath the ice, echoing within the central hall. Only at dawn did the faint whispers fade away. The next day, at noon, Su Poman looked at the two young maids snoring in their beds and recalled the frenzied scene of the previous night. Although protected by a bionic field and trained in internal martial arts, their physiques were considerably stronger than those of ordinary people. They were still far inferior to Su Poman. He hesitated to exert his full strength, fearing that an overexertion would cause them to explode and die. It was only a brief relief. With a shy chuckle, Su Poman put on his clothes and pulled out a simple-looking compass from his storage bag. He chanted a short incantation, then executed a few hand seals, sending a beam of purple light onto the compass's surface. Buzz! The compass vibrated in the air, and a dazzling white light emanated from its center. Su Poman grasped the compass in his hand and shone it at Kahir's forehead like a magic mirror. After a long moment, there was no movement on the compass. He flipped the mirror over again, shining a dazzling white beam of light onto Ruzu's forehead. After a long moment, the same result was achieved. Su Poman's face darkened, he sighed, and said to himself, "In this place with sparse spiritual veins, the chance of having spiritual roots is really too small. Alice, if these two little girls can't practice immortality, their lifespan will be too far from mine. I'm afraid they will not be able to escape reincarnation in 70 or 80 years. But fortunately, I have the purple source roulette. And I can just wait until I draw the one that can make mortals immortal. As far as I remember, there are quite a few beings with this ability in the heavens and all realms, but most of them have serious drawbacks, but they can be gradually improved through slow practice to eliminate the drawbacks." As if she had noticed the movement around her, Kahir opened her eyes with a tired face, and after seeing Su Poman, she said, "Young master, let me help you bathe and change clothes." Kahir wanted to get up, but her eyebrows frowned, and she whimpered, realizing the tearing pain in her lower body. Su Poman walked over, pressing his hand against her delicate shoulders. "Kahir, rest for a while. I won't be serving you today." He forced her back onto the bed, then patted his storage bag and pulled out 2 healing elixirs. He fed one to Kahir and placed the other into the mouth of the slumbering Ruzu. The elixirs melted in her mouth, and Kahir felt her pain and fatigue instantly dissipate. A warm current enveloped her, healing the hidden wounds she'd inadvertently incurred during her martial arts training. A deep drowsiness washed over Kahir, and she closed her eyes and drifted off again. Su Poman gathered his clothes, gently closed the door, and walked out. Outside, Butler Joe and a group of servants and guards had been waiting. Seeing Su Poman emerge, they hurried forward to greet him. Your servant greets the master, your subordinate greets Elder Su, no need for formalities, just do what you're supposed to do. Su Poman waved and walked straight out of the mansion. Steward Joe gazed enviously toward the main hall. As expected, the two young girls, once of equal status with him, had become the mistresses of this mansion overnight. How quickly things change. Steward Joe couldn't help but sigh. If only I were a beautiful woman, I could marry a figure as extraordinary as Elder Su. Perhaps I'd even have the chance to encounter immortality. Su Poman left the mansion and, in a flash, traveled from Kyoho Peak to Lingine Peak. His speed was so swift it seemed like teleportation. In front of the sect's main hall, a deacon disciple saw Su Poman arrive, his eyes filled with fervent admiration. After paying his respects, he quickly struck a large bronze bell in the pavilion. Two memorial sheds had been erected in the two courtyards on the mountain top. Lu Feng and Yang Xiangqi's descendants, as well as their direct disciples, stood within the mourning shed, mourning. Su Poman's arrival attracted considerable attention. Many elders and disciples attempted to approach and pay their respects, but realized they couldn't get within 2 feet of him. These elite members of the giant whale gang, naturally worldly wise, understood that a funeral was not the right time for socializing. Upon realizing this, they abandoned their attempts to gather. After all, the dead are supreme. Su Poman first approached Elder Lu Feng's cenotaph, incense in hand, and bowed. After a long pause, he then approached Elder Yang's mourning shed, offering incense and bowing. After this, Su Poman strolled down the mountain, his figure vanishing in a flash. On Kyoho Peak, in front of the Azure Dragon Hall, on the vast training grounds, stood solemnly 200 young disciples in Azure Dragon brocade robes. Their eyes were filled with enthusiasm and anticipation, as they gazed eagerly at the steep mountain path. Chapter 177 Test. The mountain road was deserted. After waiting for a long time, no one appeared. Some of the Qinglong Hall disciples couldn't help but whisper. We're going to conduct a talent test in Qinglong Hall soon. I wonder if I have the legendary talent for cultivating immortality. It's hard to say. Did the Hall Master say last night that in a low-level country like Pu, without any spiritual veins, the chances are probably slim? Just don't get your hopes up. Oh, who cares? We're lucky to be able to take the test in advance. As for the results, we'll just leave it to fate. You can't force a mortal fate, that's right. It's a good thing that Hall Master Su is the Hall Master of Qinglong Hall, otherwise we wouldn't have been given priority for the test. Just as the discussion grew louder, a tall, sallow-faced old man emerged from the Qianlong Hall. He coughed softly, and the room fell silent again. Greetings, Hall Master Du, the disciples saluted in unison. You little bastards, just wait here for Hall Master Su's arrival. You're actually making a scene. You're so ignorant of etiquette and lawless. I haven't even gotten to grips with you about disobeying orders and going to Lingine Peak last night. Just be quiet. Hall Master Su is now a deity. If you displease him by failing to show proper etiquette, the leader won't let you off. Du Chengjiang barked, causing many disciples to lower their heads in shame. After his lecture, he quietly stepped aside, eyes narrowed, and waited calmly. Yin Wanchao pursed his lips, muttering to himself, damn, so Hall Master Du is out here just to try to get some immortality. I always thought he'd never leave the house, but today he's fussing over etiquette. Silence fell, broken only by the occasional whistling mountain breeze. Just after noon, Kongqi noticed the sun's rays suddenly dim. Looking up, he saw Su Poman slowly descending from the sky. Many people noticed this phenomenon and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Is this a cultivator? He can actually fly. How envious, a disciple said with envy. Greetings, Hall Master Su, the disciples bowed respectfully. After landing, Su Poman smiled at the crowd and said slowly, no need for formalities. I'm sure you all know the purpose of my visit. Please line up and come forward one by one to test your spiritual roots and talents. With a flick of his hand, he produced the ancient-looking spirit testing compass. With a simple incantation, the compass instantly activated, and a dazzling white beam of light shot up into the sky, dispersing the clouds on the horizon. Wow, is this an immortal artifact? Amazing. It can actually glow. Yin Wanchao's eyes widened. He pulled Kei Yanner in front of him and said, Junior Sister Yanner, look. That light is much more beautiful than fireworks, don't bother me. After seeing your brother Kong finishes his test, it's my turn. Get away from me, you idiot, Kayaner said with a look of disgust. Undeterred, Yin Wanchao continued to follow Chayana. Kongqi, standing at the front, slowly approached Su Poman, bowed, and said, Master Su, I'm ready. Please begin. He then closed his eyes, a look of courage ready for death. Su Poman smiled softly and said, Kongqi, don't be so nervous. You're not here to be tortured. Hearing this, everyone burst into laughter, and the tense atmosphere instantly dissipated. As he spoke, he spun the compass in his hand, and a dazzling white beam of light suddenly shone on Kongqi's forehead. The white light filled Kongqi's eyes, and he felt his mind completely consumed by it, a clear, misty feeling filling his body. The compass vibrated slightly, and Su Poman quickly retracted it in his hand. He saw that where the white light had been emanating, a golden glow emanated, followed by a red and yellow, filling the upper surface of the mirror. 3 spiritual roots. Su Po's face lit up with surprise. He looked Kongqi up and down, grinning. I never thought you'd be a genius in cultivation. No wonder you've mastered martial arts so quickly. It seems your talent is truly connected. Generally speaking, even those with spiritual roots will rise to prominence, demonstrating exceptional training speed, even if they begin with martial arts. As the head of the Azure Dragon Hall, Kongqi's martial arts talent is undeniable. To stand out from tens of thousands clearly means he possesses something extraordinary. Su Poman pondered for a moment, then looked at the Azure Dragon Hall disciples again with a changing expression. He had initially harbored little confidence, but these elite members of the giant whale gang had each been carefully selected from among tens of thousands of individuals. The probability of them possessing spiritual roots was undoubtedly greatly increased. 3 spiritual roots. Kongqi looked bewildered. Then, a rare, unpleasant smile broke across his icy face. He grinned. Master Su, so I possess a natural talent for cultivating immortals. Su Poman nodded and said with a smile, not bad, haha. And quite talented, indeed. In the Nanayu realm of immortal cultivation, you could be considered a prodigy. Congratulations, Kongqi. You'll be able to join me in the Nanayu realm in a few days. Kongqi's expression straightened, and he bowed deeply to Su Poman, his gratitude evident. Alright, you go down first. Kayaner, it's your turn, Su Poman called out. Kayaner lifted her long skirt and hurried over, taking 2 steps at a time. Then, standing still, she closed her eyes and said, Master Su, I'm ready. Begin. Yes, Su Poman summoned his spiritual energy and activated the compass once more, casting a blinding white light upon Kayaner's face. It took Su Poman an entire afternoon to complete the testing of all 200 members of the Azure Dragon Hall. He clutched a spirit stone throughout the entire process, using it to replenish his spiritual energy. This fueled his urge to further his immortal cultivation. At the 3rd level of the key refining stage, the spiritual energy contained within his danshan was far too meager. The results of this spiritual root testing exceeded his expectations, far surpassing his initial predictions. Besides Kongqi, 4 other individuals possessed spiritual roots, Yin Wanchao, Kayaner, Yu Liang, and a new disciple, Zheng Daru. Aside from Kongqi, the other 4 possessed 4 spiritual roots. Some were happy, others were sad. The remaining 195 Azure Dragon Hall disciples and Du Chengjiang were somewhat disheartened. After the testing was complete, they all left dejectedly, leaving Kongqi and his group alone, awaiting Su Poman's next instructions. Yin Wanchao was smiling faintly as he fantasized about the beautiful scene of living together with Kayaner after achieving immortality. Kongqi remained as icy as ever, but the slight curl of his lips betrayed his inner joy. Yu Liang, with a thin face and a slender frame, looked like a skinny monkey from a distance. His face was filled with excitement as he whispered to Zhang Daru beside him, discussing something. Zhang Daru was a young disciple newly recruited to the Qinglong Hall after Su Poman left Pu State. Still young and fresh-faced, he had heard countless stories of the Hall Master's glorious history from his senior brothers and sisters since entering the hall. He looked like a little fanboy, listening to Yu Liang's narration while gazing at Su Poman with fervent eyes. Chapter 178 Superman Danshan. Seeing that everyone had left, Su Poman patted his storage bag, took out 5 thick volumes, and slowly said, Since you have spiritual roots and talents, I will take you to the kingdom of Nanayu to find a chance to become an immortal. But you don't have to imagine it too well. In fact, the world of immortal cultivation is darker and crueler than you think. To cultivate immortality, You naturally have to start from being a mortal and become an immortal, but you are not yet an immortal. On the road to becoming an immortal, you cannot do without dharma, friends, money, and land. Many people will do anything to get spiritual stones, skills, magic weapons and other resources. There is the possibility of longevity, but there is also the danger of dying halfway. I happen to have a basic record of cultivation here. You can take a look at it. At least you can have a certain understanding of the world of immortal cultivation first. These 5 records of cultivation were naturally looted from the storage bags of those casual cultivators. In addition, there were many miscellaneous items, which were all placed in different areas of the storage bag according to their categories. The storage bag used was a high-level one from the green-robed elder, boasting a vast expanse of space. As for Li Xianhong's storage ring, it was only used to store Su Poman's personal belongings. The spirit stones were stored separately in a storage bag obtained from the demon spirit Devourer. Alright, you all go back and study for a while. I'll summon you when I'm gone. Su Poman waved his hand. Yes, Hall Master Su. The 5 of them agreed in unison and dispersed. Seeing that the sun was still slightly below the surface, Su Poman decided to return to practice his scorching sun technique. He had discovered during previous tests that simply activating the spirit testing compass was a significant drain on his spiritual energy. The thought of potentially thousands of people testing their spirits at once tomorrow made the sheer workload seem overwhelming. After strolling back to the mansion, Katir and Ruzu rushed out from the main hall to greet him. They slid into Su Poman's arms, one on each side, each soft and fragrant, flanked by gentle and charming women. He enjoyed the blessing of having the best of both worlds. Stroking the 2 women's smooth backs and feeling the warmth in his arms, Su Poman softly asked, Katir, Ruzu, are you 2 feeling better? Young Master's elixir is very effective. The pain will go away soon after I take it, Ruzu answered excitedly, her little face flushed and looking very attractive. Katir also nodded, her eyes seemed to contain autumn water. Looking at Su Poman's handsome face, she became a little dazed. She pondered for a moment and asked hesitantly, Young Master, I heard from Butler Joe that you went to test your fate as an immortal. I would like to ask you to test it for me as well. It would be great if I could practice. I hope to keep up with you. Su Poman really didn't want to discourage the 2 women, but the hesitation on his face had been seen by Katir. She was very sensitive and instantly understood some information. There was a dimness in her beautiful eyes. Ruzu, however, was completely unaware of everything and said with a smile, Master, we both want to practice immortal arts. After we become immortals, we can stay with you forever. Ruzu, let's not trouble you. He must have his own arrangements. Katir quickly pulled Ruzu's sleeve and said. Su Poman sighed and said quietly, Since you all asked, then I will tell you the truth. I have tested your talents today. It's a pity that neither of you has the qualifications to practice immortality. Then we may not be able to stay with you forever in the future. Ruzu's eyes were instantly covered with a layer of mist when she heard this. She bit her lower lip with her pearly teeth, and her expression was very lost. Even though Katir had guessed the result before, when she heard Su Poman say it himself, her heart seemed to be tugged at and sank. When she thought of herself in her 50s or 60s and old and ugly, she felt a little sad and thought to herself, by then, I won't have the face to stay with you, young master. Haha, you 2 don't have to be too sad. I am a fairy. Naturally, I have a way to give you immortality and the ability to stay young forever. Su Poman comforted them directly with his spiritual consciousness. Hearing the voice coming from their minds, the 2 women were stunned, and then looked at Su Poman in shock. Young Master, are you telling the truth? Katir asked seriously. Shh, of course it's true. Don't tell anyone. This is my secret. Su Poman made a silence gesture. Ruzu giggled, her tears breaking into laughter. She threw her arms around Su Poman's neck and kissed him on the cheek. Sir, I knew you were the best. After a few more moments of frolicking with the 2 women, Su Poman, seeing it was getting late, sent them back to the main hall. He then sat cross-legged in the middle of the courtyard and began to slowly cultivate. This was his first time practicing the scorching sun technique since perfecting his superhuman physique. As soon as he began, he noticed something was amiss. He felt the sun's true fire surrounding him, like a madman, carrying fire-attributed spiritual energy into his body at a terrifying speed. Su Poman opened his eyes, a look of astonishment on his face. I didn't expect that after achieving perfection in the Superman physique, it would actually accelerate the absorption of spiritual energy by the scorching sun technique. And the speed is truly terrifying. In just a moment, it feels like my meridians are already filled with unrefined spiritual energy, and now it seems the refining speed can't keep up, although the spiritual energy of Pooh country is thin. With the blessing of Superman's physique, Su Poman absorbs it at an astonishing rate. If a powerful being with a divine eye observed this place, they would see a huge golden cyclone, like the eye of the wind, forming around Su Poman. The true fire of the sun, contained in the sunlight, swarmed from the sky, carrying streams of spiritual energy that continuously washed over his flesh. After just a few breaths of practice, Su Poman felt his meridians swell. He quickly stopped absorbing and focused all his energy on refining the spiritual energy remaining within his body. Looking inward with his spiritual sense, Su Poman was astonished to discover that his danshan had expanded tens of thousands of times compared to before. His meridians were as vast as rivers and avenues, brimming with fiery red spiritual energy, slowly circulating according to the scorching sun gong technique. With each cycle, a vast amount of spiritual energy was refined into spiritual power. Superman's physique is truly extraordinary. Even his ki si danshan is tens of thousands of times larger than that of an average person. The amount of spiritual energy I must absorb to achieve this breakthrough will likely reach a terrifying level. It's said that foundation building requires overflowing gaseous spiritual energy within the danshan. With the size of my danshan, once I succeed, the amount of spiritual energy I will possess will undoubtedly surpass that of an average giant stage cultivator, Su Poman pondered as he diligently refined the spiritual energy within his body. Not long after, a popping sound emanated from his body. After partially refining the spiritual energy, his cultivation level broke through to the 4th level of the key refining stage. The afterglow of the setting sun gradually dimmed, and Su Poman paused his practice, sensing a significant amount of unrefined spiritual energy in his meridians. However, it was already dark, and he could no longer practice the scorching sun technique. The scorching sun technique is, after all, only a low-level key refining stage technique. Its rate of refining the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is far too slow. Is all this spiritual energy I've absorbed going to waste? Su Poman felt a little unwilling. He gazed inward at his danshan and suddenly saw another crimson vortex within it, which gave him a sudden thought. Chapter 179 Spiritual roots are hard to find. Got it. Although I can't practice the scorching sun technique after dark, I can practice the mountain moving body refining technique. I just don't need to use the incantation to absorb spiritual energy. I simply need to refine the spiritual energy in my meridians into shaky ki and spiritual power. It's all spiritual energy from heaven and earth, so there shouldn't be any qualitative difference. As this thought occurred to Su Poman, he became extremely excited and immediately began to practice the refining techniques of the mountain moving body refining technique. The spiritual energy in his meridian suddenly shifted its course, flowing toward the major acupoints of the 8 extraordinary meridians. Slowly, strands of spiritual energy were refined into fire-attributed spiritual power, and streams of fiery red shaky ki also appeared. An hour later, Su Poman's aura changed, and a fiery red ball-shaped shield emerged from his body. A barely detectable light golden color flashed in the fiery red ki. He opened his eyes with joy and muttered to himself, I have also made a breakthrough in the moving mountains body refining technique and reached the 3rd level of ki refining. If I practice like this, maybe I can really practice dual cultivation of both magic and body. Haha, but my superhuman body is strong to begin with, and the improvement to my body after breaking through 1 level of body refining is really negligible. Although the current body refining exercises have limited effect on Su Poman's body, he will not give up practicing in the direction of body refining. After all, it is always good to have many skills. Besides, this is only the exercise method for the ki refining period. Once it reaches the later stage, the bonus to the body will become greater and greater. With the unique conditions of refining the body on the basis of the superhuman physique, he may be able to forge a true immortal body that is difficult to bury by heaven, difficult to cover by earth, unbreakable by catastrophe, and invulnerable to all kinds of attacks. Su Poman finished his training and returned to the main hall. After dinner with the 2 women, they retired to their bedrooms, where another night of dancing and dancing began. The next morning, Su Poman emerged refreshed. Outside the compound, a group of elders had already been waiting. Elder Su is here, someone called out, and everyone's attention shifted to Su Poman. Greetings, Immortal Su. On the mountain road, thousands of disciples shouted with overwhelming force, their voices deafening and resonating throughout the mountains. Seeing the sea of people thronging the Kyoho Peak Road, Su Poman felt a little tired. He sensed another busy day ahead. He nodded to the crowd and, with a gentle gesture, managed to quell their excitement. The first to undergo the test were gang leader Long Keiji and a group of elders. Afterwards, they would be ranked according to rank and contribution. The mountain path was packed with people, and the disciples behind them stood on tiptoe, their eyes wide open, vying to get to the main hall to witness the immortal technique test. Long Keiji, with the swift gait of a dragon and a tiger, walked to the front, cupped his fists toward Su Poman, and respectfully said, "Shanks and Su, thank you for your trouble." In this world where the strong are respected, Long Keiji had quietly changed his address and attitude. The young man he once favored had now become someone he looked up to. Su Poman smiled faintly and said, "Gang leader Long, you're too polite. Since you're ready, let's begin." He patted his storage bag, and a simple compass emerged from his left hand, and a mid-grade spirit stone appeared in his right. He also placed a spirit-nourishing pill under his tongue to prevent a loss of spiritual energy during the test. Time passed by. A dazzling beam of white light shot out. Sweat beaded Long Keiji's forehead as he nervously stared at the compass. Seeing Su Poman shake his head slightly, he couldn't help but sigh, his eyes dimming. Su Poman patted his storage bag and pulled out over 10 elixirs suitable for mortal warriors. He personally placed them in Long Keiji's hands, reassuring him, "Boss Long, don't be discouraged. These are all elixirs that can help warriors break through the barrier. Each bottle is labeled with its own instructions. Even if you can't cultivate immortality, studying martial arts is a path forward." "Thank you, Immortal Su." Long Keiji accepted the cloth holding the dozen jade bottles, feeling the weight in his hands. He bowed while holding the elixirs, then waved to his two guardians and left with them. Seeing that their boss and two guardians lacked the talent for cultivating immortality, the others' hopes were somewhat dampened, and their initial enthusiasm faded. The elders were next to take the test. They stepped forward in groups of 3, one after another. No spiritual roots, next. No spiritual roots, next. It seemed as if their luck had all run out yesterday. From the first test until the last elder, no one with spiritual roots had been found. This result further disillusioned the others, who simply saw themselves as going through the motions, joining in the fun and experiencing the power of immortality. Su Poman was rather frustrated by the results, but this was the reality. There was nothing he could do to alter anyone's aptitude. The pace of the tests increased as a result. He now shone white light on several people at once. If any of them reacted, it meant one of them possessed spiritual roots, and further investigation would be sufficient. Otherwise, if the compass didn't react, it meant none of them had the aptitude to cultivate immortality, and no further investigation was necessary. Using this method, Su Poman's testing speed increased rapidly. As soon as the first person left, several more followed. Several elders stood around the area, maintaining order. Despite the large number of disciples requiring testing, the atmosphere remained orderly and calm. The sun was setting, its last rays of light radiating its final warmth. Su Poman carefully counted. Throughout the entire day, he had tested 3,869 people, yet found no one with spiritual roots. It felt like a day's work had been wasted. A place with so few spiritual veins like this truly struggles to nurture children with spiritual roots. Unlike Xiandu City, where, despite its small population, the proportion of mortals possessing spiritual roots is high, after testing the last of the giant whale gang's disciples, Su Poman quickly sat cross-legged and, using the last rays of sunlight, practiced the scorching sun technique for a short while. When he opened his eyes again, night had fallen. Bonfires had been lit all around, and 5 elders stood solemnly guarding the area, as if protecting him. "Elders, thank you for your hard work." Su Poman stood up and said with a smile. Elder Wang waved his hand quickly, saying, "It's Immortal Su who's been working hard. He's been testing all day and hasn't even had lunch. The gang leader has already set up a banquet at Lingain Peak. Please come and have a drink." "Okay," Su Poman nodded, and then hurried to the main hall of Lingain Peak with the elders. Although a funeral had just been held on Lingain Peak, the people of Jianghu seemed to be unrestrained. To welcome the Immortal Su Poman, they had specially hung large red lanterns, only used for festivals, all around. A long red carpet was also laid out on the ground, stretching from the top of the mountain to the foot. At every section of the mountain road, several disciples would beat gongs and drums, lining the road to welcome him. The scene was extremely lively and left a deep impression on Su Poman. Chapter 180 The Arrival of the Nascent Soul. Upon entering the giant whale hall, Su Poman noticed that Long Keiji and the other elders were standing in the hall, waiting, rather than taking their seats. Quick, Immortal Su is here. Greetings, Immortal Su. Immortal Su is truly in high spirits. Ha ha ha. Immortal Su, please take your seat. Our banquet is about to begin. I've specially invited the imperial chef from the capital to prepare the dishes. While they may not be as delicious as the immortals, they're still worth a try. Long Keiji greeted them, his face beaming with enthusiasm, a stark contrast to his usual awe-inspiring demeanor. Although Su Poman felt a little uncomfortable, he said nothing. He nodded and said, "Elders, please take your seats. After all, you are all my seniors. Although I'm now cultivating, I still have to observe proper etiquette. Please don't embarrass me like this." Upon hearing this, everyone's liking for Su Poman deepened. Possessing such strength, yet remaining humble and modest, Su Poman impressed many of the elders who had just met him. Even the more respectful old gentlemen couldn't find fault with him, and they all smiled knowingly. "Boss Long, I see your energy and blood surging like a furnace. Have you achieved a breakthrough?" Su Poman asked with a smile, noticing the changes in Long Keiji. Hearing this, Long Keiji's smile widened. "Sure enough, I can't hide from the eyes of Su Shankson. Thanks to the elixir you gave me, I can make another step forward. Otherwise, it would probably take another 20 years before I can confidently make an attempt." "Boss Long has made a breakthrough? Doesn't that mean he has entered the Grandmaster realm?" Hiss. "So fast? Is Su Shankson's elixir so powerful?" "Of course, it's an elixir from the Immortal sect, so it's naturally effective. No, I have to go to the Northwest branch tomorrow to take back the territory that the Blood Cloud sect took the opportunity to occupy, and earn more contributions to the sect. I hope Boss Long can give me an elixir. Haha, let's go together. How can you enjoy the credit alone? Elder Zhao, you can't drive away those people from the Blood Cloud sect if you go alone. Elder Wei, why do you have to get involved too? Your grandson Yin Wanchao is going to follow Su Shankson to cultivate immortality. There will definitely be no shortage of elixirs in the future. That kid Yin Wanchao is getting more and more unruly. It'll be a wonder if he can ever achieve anything." Everyone engaged in a lively discussion, the atmosphere harmonious. Su Poman sat at the head table, with Long Keiji to his right and Wei Wuji to his left. Further away, he was closer to the elders he was familiar with. Clearly, the seating arrangement had been carefully planned. As the toasts flowed, Su Poman accepted every toast, downing each one in a gulp. He also frequently invited everyone to join him. While the ordinary drinks were strong, they didn't make him even slightly tipsy. After a few rounds, he was in high spirits, and even managed to get several elders drunk under the table. The banquet lasted until midnight, with most of the elders slumped over the tables. Only a few, like Long Keiji, remained fully intoxicated. Su Poman stood up, surveyed the crowd, then turned to Long Keiji and said, "Boss Long, please arrange for the elders to rest later. I'll be leaving first. Shanks and Su, I've arranged for my disciples to take them to rest. I'll take you down the mountain." Long Keiji's face flushed slightly, and he was clearly getting drunk. All right, the two walked side by side, walking down the red carpet from Lingain Peak. The sky was filled with stars, the moonlight was clear, and the mountain path, aside from the glow from the bonfire, was covered in a blanket of silver frost. "Time flies," Long Keiji sighed softly, his eyes filled with complex emotions. "I remember when you first arrived, I personally brought you to Lingain Peak. It's only been so long, and now when I'm taking you down the mountain, you've had a completely different experience." Su Poman's words instantly brought back memories. He gazed at the nearby Wangayan pavilion and nodded silently. The two men, born in the night breeze, without resorting to any form of skill, descended Lingain Peak step by step. The moonlight shone on them, casting long shadows on the stone steps. A gentle breeze blew, tinged with the bustle of the day. Now, in the stillness of the night, the occasional barking of dogs could be heard from the distant courtyard. Looking around, many areas of Dengfeng Mansion were still brightly lit. At yin hour, the two reached the foot of the mountain. Long Keiji paused and said, "I will see you off here, Su Shankson. Please come back often if you have time." "I will," Su Poman nodded. "Boss Long, goodbye, see you." Taking advantage of the night, Su Poman soared into the air, arriving in mere breaths above Kinglan County. Standing high above the clouds, Su Poman's supervision pierced through layers of obstruction, catching sight of Yao Dashin and his family fast asleep on the Kang, and a faint smile played on his lips. As long as you're safe, the world of Immortal Cultivation is full of twists and turns, with all kinds of tricks. It's not convenient for me to have any more karma with you now. It won't be good for you either, Su Poman muttered to himself. He stood on the cloud and watched for a while, until Yao Dashin snorted and slightly turned his body to the side, revealing his round, fat face. He laughed on the cloud, then spread his arms and flew away. Yao Dashin smacked his lips, frowned slightly, and then quickly relaxed. The next day, Yao Dashin squatted at the door, watching the busy street in a daze, until at a certain moment, he suddenly roared and ran back home quickly. Tiger Boy's mother, I remember it. I remember it, boss. What are you doing in broad daylight? I remembered the dream I had last night. I actually dreamed of Brother Su, and he thought I was fat. Oh, it was just a dream. Southern Xinjiang. A purple light whistled through the sky like a meteor, carrying with it bursts of lightning and gusts of air. A terrifying, invisible pressure enveloped the entire southern border. All the domesticated animals, as well as the ferocious beasts of the wild, lay prostrate, terrified. Whoever killed my nephew, I will see to his untold death. A furious roar echoed throughout southern border, terrifying many mortals and waking infants from their sleep. In an instant, everyone's heart was gripped by the sound. Within the Blood Goose sect, a gray-haired, Foundation establishment stage elder suddenly revealed a look of terror. His lips trembled as he pointed toward the sky and spoke with difficulty. It's him. That master has returned, master, such a terrifying pressure. I can't even stand up. Who is it? The red-robed young disciple prostrated himself on the ground, his face pale. That's the founder of our Blood Goose sect, Master Ling Chong, the gray-haired old man explained slowly with a look of fear and admiration on his face, with a trace of bitterness deep in his eyes. Boom. Purple lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the world. A tall, purple-haired old man wearing an ancient crown descended from above the Blood Goose sect. Whoever is still in the sect, get out right now. With an angry shout, the cultivators of the Blood Goose sect who were meditating in the caves immediately knelt out of the caves in fear. The author is running out of money. Please vote, collect, subscribe, and other things. Chapter 181 Teleportation. Greetings, Ancestor. Greetings, Ancestor. After paying their respects, the elders and disciples of the Blood Goose sect all knelt on the ground, refusing to utter a single word. The moment he arrived, Master Ling Chong had already swept the Blood Goose sect's interior and exterior with his divine sense, including the 3 shattered life tablets within the Blood Jade Pavilion. You, the old voice, with its oppressive aura, caused many to shrink back. Do you know who the murderer is? If you can't provide any clues, then there's no point in your existence, Master Ling Chong said coldly. After these words, the Blood Goose sect's cultivators were horrified, anxiously looking around, hoping someone might offer some clue. The old man with the gray hair said, Ancestor, Sect Master Li went out for a while before. He should have gone to the 10,000 Insects secret realm, and the other 2 fallen elders were also stationed near the 10,000 Insects secret realm. These recent days happen to be the days when the secret realm trial was opened, and it is very likely that the murderer sneaked in. 10,000 Insects secret realm. Master Ling Chong released his spiritual sense to explore the direction of the secret realm. A strange look appeared on his face, and he muttered, there really is a problem. The sky centipede beast I gave to Hunter is dead. His face was stern, and he slapped his forehead. Suddenly, a fist-sized nascent soul holding a strange purple insect appeared above him. The baby looked similar to the purple-haired old man, but his chubby cheeks made him look very cute, and he also had a clear and ethereal aura on his body, but the strange purple insect in its hand was very hideous. Its body, segmented like a cotton boll worm, sprouted from its front a long, conical horn, like a unicorn's. Purple arcs of electricity danced on the horn, occasionally darting into the nascent soul's body, as if tempering it. As soon as the nascent soul was exposed to the air, a look of distress crossed its wrinkled face, as if this world was too filthy for its survival. The purple-haired elder gently chanted a mantra, and the nascent soul exhaled a breath of fresh air before instantly escaping into his body. Quick, the purple-haired elder shouted softly, and with a gentle grasp, he grabbed the ash-haired elder. The next moment, their figures vanished in a blur. Is this the unique magical power of teleportation, unique to nascent soul cultivators? It's incredible. They vanished in an instant, That murderer is truly courting death, provoking a nascent soul cultivator. I'm afraid this won't end well. That elder son is truly foolish. He's been captured by Master Lingchong. He'll definitely be used as a punching bag. I don't think he'll ever come back. After seeing Master Lingchong leave, the remaining members of the Blood Goose sect stood up and discussed the situation. Several Foundation establishment cultivators among them had expressions of gloating. The other disciples also felt like they had survived a catastrophe. The immense pressure of facing a nascent soul cultivator had been suffocating them. Now that the pressure was gone, they felt limp and weak. One of the disciples wiped the sweat from his forehead when he suddenly spotted a purple-black insect the size of a grain of rice on his finger. What kind of spiritual insect is this? Why haven't I seen it before? He excitedly showed the insect to his fellow disciple. At that moment, the purple-black insect suddenly spread its wings and pecked his finger with its sharp fangs, leaving a tiny wound. The disciple froze for a moment, about to laugh at the insect's weakness, when the next second, he was horrified to see his finger instantly transformed purple-black. He only had time to scream before the purple-black spread rapidly, instantly covering his entire flesh. His face twitched grimly, and then, with a thud, he fell straight to the ground, his life force gone. Junior Brother Wu, Junior Brother Wu. What happened to you? Was it that flying insect? A fellow disciple nearby looked horrified. He quickly jumped up and rushed to the elders, shouting, "Elders, this is terrible. Junior Brother Wu Jun has been bitten to death by a strange spiritual insect. Please come and take a look." The elders' faces were filled with dismay. If word got out that someone had been killed by a spirit insect at the Blood Goose sect, it would likely become a laughingstock in the Nanayu Kingdom's Immortal Cultivation world. "What the hell is going on?" a chubby-faced old man said with a commanding presence. He flashed to the side of the deceased disciple and leaned over to examine him carefully. This kind of venom is probably only found in the legendary ancient poisonous insects. "Damn it," the chubby-faced old man exclaimed, his eyes widening as if a thought struck him. The color drained from his face. At that moment, a buzzing sound could be heard from all around. Outside the Blood Goose sect, a swarm of insects had already surrounded the area. "It's over. It seems the ancestor won't let us go. I just thought Elder Sun was stupid, but now I realize I'm the biggest fool," another Foundation establishment elder observed, his face pale. "Elders, you are all Foundation establishment masters. Think of a solution," a disciple said, his face pale. The fat-faced elder's eyes were full of despair, and he said sadly, "Alice, don't struggle. This group of poisonous insects have already locked us, and they have all been refined with special methods. They are not afraid of water and fire at all. It is harder than climbing to the sky for us to escape from the murderous intention of an old monster in the nascent soul stage. The best way is to commit suicide in advance to avoid the pain of being bitten by those poisonous insects. I don't believe in evil. Although the old thief Master Lingchong is a cultivator in the nascent soul stage, he wants to kill us with this group of spiritual insects. I really don't want to sit and wait for death. Fellow Daoists, let's act together. Maybe we can find a way to restrain it and fight our way out," an elder with dark skin and a green skin gored half a person's height on his back said with a firm look. "That's right, everyone. Let's all attack. Unleash all the spiritual insects we've got. We'll outnumber the weak. Maybe one of us has something that can counter this purple poisonous insect." A dozen Foundation establishment experts gathered, releasing all sorts of spiritual insects from their spiritual insect bags. Then, they scattered 5-element spiritual talismans like they were free. A swarm of spiritual insects darkened the sky, charging into the air. Among them were winged centipedes soaring upwards, red-eyed blood flies with bared fangs, and fist-sized tiger-striped poisonous bees. The purple-black spiritual insects scattered in the sky were like unbreakable nails. They didn't dodge the attacks of the numerous spiritual insects and talismans, withstanding the initial wave unscathed. When the onslaught eased, they flapped their wings and vanished from their positions in an instant, moving at a speed so swift that even the spiritual awareness of Foundation establishment experts couldn't keep up. "No, run away." At this moment, the protective shields on the bodies of this group of Foundation establishment cultivators were like banana leaves being hit by rain, and crisp papa sounds were heard one after another. Chapter 182 Return. When the purple-black flying insects reappeared, they had already broken through the cultivators' protective spiritual shields and swarmed over their bodies, leaving behind a trail of gruesome, purple-black corpses. The purple-black flying insect searched the blood goose sect for a moment, then, after confirming there were no survivors, transformed into a puff of purple-black smoke and drifted away. Gulp, gurgle, the purple-black corpses began to fester half an hour later, their skin filing with a deep purple fluid. It soon burst, splattering the ground with intestines. The fluid, exposed to sunlight, evaporated into purple-black miasma, slowly forming a poisonous miasma nearby, a place where ordinary people could hardly survive. The entrance to the myriad insect's secret realm. Master Ling Chong carefully examined the sky centipede's corpse and discovered it had been fatally struck by a powerful Yang-attributed spell, instantly piercing its torso from the head. He was most shocked by the fact that a spell of this power was generally only wielded by high-ranking cultivators. In a land as impoverished as Nanayu, where even nascent soul cultivators lacked a presence, it was impossible for a cultivator of this caliber to exist. Could this be the work of one of my enemies? Since his rise to prominence, Master Ling Chong had forged ahead, steadily growing stronger and antagonizing numerous factions. Although he was now a nascent soul cultivator, many of his enemies still disliked him. However, their fear of the beast-taming sect's power prevented them from doing anything to him for the time being. At this thought, his expression darkened even further, and he gnashed his teeth, muttering to himself, "If I find out who did this, I'll wipe out his entire family." Everyone assumed Li Xianhong was Master Ling Chang's nephew. If he were truly just a nephew, he wouldn't have been so furious. In reality, the Hanja he was referring to was his own child and his sister's. He publicly declared Li Xianhong his nephew for two main reasons. First, he had made too many enemies, and feared he would be targeted before he matured. Second, because it was a hidden forbidden love. As the Grand Elder of the beast-taming sect, he naturally had to consider the impact on the outside world. For this reason, he placed Li Xianhong in the kingdom of Nanayu, bestowing him with several life-saving magical weapons. He also personally visited the 6 major sects of Nanayu, requesting they look after his nephew. He thought everything was safe, but unexpectedly, Li Xianhong, at the Jiandan stage, met his end on his own territory. The grief of losing his son tormented Master Ling Chong, but he remained unblinded by hatred and instead rationally analyzed the current clues. Master Ling Chong let out a long breath. He gazed at the entrance to the myriad insect's secret realm, a flicker of murderous intent in his eyes. "Come, follow me into the secret realm again." With a casual movement, he lifted the grizzled old man and carried him directly into the teleportation array. A flash of light and shadow, and when the grizzled old man's vision cleared again, he found himself in the secret realm. Strange. The spiritual energy is so thin. He noticed a slight shift in his surroundings, and a flicker of surprise crossed his eyes. As a nascent soul cultivator, Master Ling Chang's spiritual awareness extended far beyond his grasp. Closing his eyes, he swept his consciousness across a vast expanse, and scenes spanning tens of thousands of miles appeared before his mind. Plowed over soil, its roots shattered, seemed to have been plundered clean of all the spiritual essence within this world. Even the once useless spiritual herbs were plundered, leaving nothing behind, like a swarm of locusts. In Master Ling Chang's eyes, all of this was a naked provocation. Righteous Key Sect, Withered Bone Sect, Thousand Talisman Sect. He rattled off the names of various factions, murderous intent building within him. Pu State, Dengfang Prefecture. Su Poman, accompanied by Kaoyer and Rizhu, along with 5 Azure Dragon Hall disciples, Kongqi, Yin Wanchao, and Kei Yaner, drove the Power Beast cart and left the giant whale gang headquarters. Fortunately, the Power Beast carriage had ample space, so the 8 of them sat comfortably inside. While traveling, Su Poman shared some insights into the world of immortal cultivation, broadening their understanding. He also took out a mountain-banning body refining art and taught them how to cultivate and sense the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Although none of them were yet first-rank warriors, with the help of elixirs and their own spiritual roots, sensing the presence of spiritual energy was not difficult. Kongqi, possessing 3 spiritual roots, was the most sensitive to the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. He sensed the surrounding spiritual energy just 4 days after setting out, and the others followed suit later in the journey. This was only the first step, sensing the spiritual energy. The subsequent process of drawing the energy into the body required gradually accumulating internal energy and slowly channeling it using specialized elixirs. After all, they were still mortals, unlike Su Poman, who relied solely on the strength of his physical meridians to endure the drawing-in stage. To truly become an immortal cultivator, a casual cultivator needs time to hone their skills. Only disciples with insects possess elixirs like Yang Mei Dan to accelerate the process of drawing ki into the meridians. There's no other way. In the vast world of immortal cultivation, exceptional individuals like Su Poman are rare and cannot be considered the norm. Although the beast carts were capable of rapid travel, it still took nearly a month to travel from Dangfeng Mansion to the easternmost reaches of Nanayu. During this time, Su Poman distributed the bigu pills from his storage bag to everyone, eliminating the intake of impurities from their food, lest they later be hindered by excessive impurities in their bodies and hinder their success in building their foundations. Along the way, Kong Qi and his companions witnessed a different side of the world: ferocious beasts on the Great Kang Plains, terrifying corpses in deserted villages, and the traces of demonic beasts in the deep mountains and forests. The closer they got to Nanayu, the more bizarre and strange things became, seemingly all related to the concentration of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. In Pu, such bizarre occurrences occurred only once in countless years, but in Nanayu, they were commonplace. Consequently, the mortals living there developed even more taboos, establishing numerous seemingly bizarre rules. For example, they refrained from looking down at wells at night, wandering by rivers when overcast skies obscured the moon, and refraining from lingering or trampling on mass graves. They also exercised extreme caution when traveling, resolutely refraining from setting foot on unknown parts of the map. In Nanayu, mortals seeking to travel far required a travel permit from the government, accompanied by a guarantor. Caught without a permit, they were subject to criminal punishment. Furthermore, most small towns in the wilderness maintained a curfew. At night, the city gates were closed, and no one was allowed to leave the streets except for those carrying gongs and beating night watchmen. These seemingly bizarre rules actually held profound truths, forged through the bloody lessons of their ancestors and subsequently validated into widely accepted norms. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183: Finding Fault. East St. Continent is a sparsely populated land of mountains and hills. Midwinter had just ended, and the weather was still cold. In the mountain streams, where the terrain dipped, the ice had broken, gurgling and washing away the snow and ice downstream. Tender buds on the branches were still in bud, waiting for the spring breeze to bring their tender green to life. The beast cart raced along the road, occasionally crossing mountains and wading through rivers, but these terrains were merely minor obstacles for the Qingyu beasts, not slowing their pace. Through the small windows on either side, Kanier spotted a distant, towering jade pillar, shrouded in layers of mist, as if reaching a celestial fairyland. It was a magnificent sight. "Young master, is that the Immortal Gate?" Kanier's beautiful eyes flashed with shock. Her red lips parted, her gaze fixed on the distant, broken Xianzhou mountain. Su Poman shook his head and explained, "That's Xianzhou City, not far from the Liang Sect's mountain gate. We'll go there for a while to rest up, then we'll take you back to the Liang Sect." At the thought of entering the Immortal Gate, Yin Wanchao and his companions couldn't help but feel excited, their eyes filled with anticipation. They'd been acquainted with the Immortal Gate since their time in Pu State, and had heard many rumors about it, but those were only legends. Now that they were actually about to enter, they couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. As the saying goes, if you look at the mountain, you'll die if you run. Xianzhou Broken Mountain seemed not far away, but the beast cart's speed didn't reach its foot until dusk. From a distance, the peak looked like a pillar of heaven, but up close, it loomed immeasurably tall. It was impossible to see the entire mountain at a glance, as it stretched for thousands of feet. "Order the troops to lead the way, borrow the Kyankan magic, and hurry." Su Poman chanted a spell, and in a burst of green light, the beast cart slowly shrank, and the Qingyu beast returned to its green-skinned pouch. "It's amazing. Such a large frame has become the size of a fist," Kyaner couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. Su Poman smiled and was about to say something when several key refining cultivators in various attire approached from a distance. Wow, what beautiful young ladies. Fellow Taoist, where did you buy these? They're truly excellent. How about this, I'll offer you 2 spirit stones and let you take away those beauties." Su Poman's face darkened. He turned and saw that the speaker was a middle-aged man in a yellow robe, a sleazy-looking man of the 6th key refining stage. He was followed by 4 cultivators of slightly lower cultivation levels. "Get lost," Su Poman shouted angrily. "What did you say, boy? A mere cultivator of the 4th key refining stage dares to lash out at me, Grandpa Joe. I think you're dying." With that, the yellow-robed middle-aged man rolled up his sleeves and released his 6th key refining stage spiritual pressure, attempting to coax Su Poman into submission. They have been hanging around in this area for a long time, specializing in bullying and robbing those weak independent cultivators, and have made a lot of money by these means. As soon as the middle-aged man in yellow finished speaking, several people behind him rolled up their sleeves and surrounded him, staring at Su Poman with unfriendly faces, as if they were about to fight if they disagreed. "Young master, what should we do?" Ruzu was so scared that she grabbed the corner of Su Poman's clothes, looking around with worried eyes. Kong Qi and Yin Wanchao stood in front, blocking the 3 women behind them. Facing a group of cultivators, although they were nervous, they knew they had to stand in front at this time. "Haha, you 2 mortals want to go against us?" A pockmarked monk with a black mole on his chin sneered. Su Poman's heart was filled with murderous intent, but the crowds here made it unwise to reveal too much of his abilities. He patted his storage bag, pulled out his dragon scale flowing sword case, and slung it onto his back. He coldly said, "Don't leave now, or I'll be rude, boss." That sword case seems to have some history. A mustachioed man beside the yellow-robed middle-aged man's eyes lit up when he saw it, as if he had seen it somewhere before. The yellow-robed middle-aged man was startled, then laughed. "What? Our sword cultivator's afraid of him? He's just a 4th-level key refining sword cultivator. How much power can he unleash? Can he really defeat us?" "Ha ha ha!" The others followed suit, laughing without taking Su Poman seriously. "Never mind, good words won't persuade a suicidal wretch. Since you're seeking death, then go ahead." Su Poman's eyes flashed with a cold light, and he formed a spell, and the sound of sword chanting instantly rang out. Chi chi chi. The burning shadow sword streaked through the air, and blood-stained flowers bloomed all around. A top-grade magical weapon was a deadly weapon among casual cultivators. Without specialized defenses, it was impossible to withstand its attack. Even within the sword monastery of the Fiery Sun sect, a top-grade flying sword was a potent weapon, though only the elite disciples of the Upper Dao Academy possessed such weapons. The 4 men, momentarily complacent, could only create a flimsy protective shield, unable to even activate a single talisman. After several screams, only the yellow-robed man survived. Gazing at the shattered limbs around him, the middle-aged man in the yellow robe clearly hadn't anticipated such a horrific scene. If it weren't for his instantly activated jade pendant, he would have perished under the sword. "This is sword control. You're a sect disciple." His eyes widened, bitterness filling his heart. Why wasn't this sect disciple wearing sect attire? This was a rip-off. The thought flashed through his mind as he quickly drew out his talisman and affixed it to his body. He grabbed the storage bags of several of his companions and prepared to flee. The commotion of the battle had already attracted many passing cultivators to watch from afar. "Where are you running to?" Su Poman was enveloped in a fiery red aura, revealing his identity as a physical cultivator. He then vanished into a phantom, reappearing before standing in front of the yellow-robed middle-aged man. The burning shadow sword also returned to his side, hovering up and down behind him, radiating a faint red light. "What a beautiful flying sword! This design is truly unique. I've never seen such a stunning flying sword anywhere else. Who is this person? How can he possess such a dazzling flying sword?" A 4th-level key refining cultivator versus a 6th-level key refining cultivator, and he's dominating. Is he a casual cultivator? Did you notice his sword case and sword control techniques? I've only seen this kind of attack from Liang sect sword cultivators. No wonder he's a sword cultivator from the Liang sect. No wonder his attack power is so formidable. Haha, not only that, but look at his flying sword too. It must be at least a mid-grade magical weapon. Not far away, many casual cultivators stopped to watch the fight and comment. Seeing Su Poman's display of prowess, Kong Qi and the others breathed a sigh of relief. However, Kahir and Ruzu, who had never witnessed such a bloody scene, turned pale with fear. Chapter 184 The Demonic Demon. Fellow Taoist, why do you have to go to such extremes? Since you're a disciple of our sect, why not just tell me earlier? I wouldn't have set my sights on you. How about this? I'm wrong in this matter. I'll apologize, and you'll let me go. How about that? The yellow-robed middle-aged man said, forcing a smile and trying to please me. Su Poman's eyes gleamed coldly, and he snorted, "Sorry, I have a habit. I'm afraid I can't let you go this time." "What habit?" The yellow-robed middle-aged man pressed on, unwilling to give up. "Cut the roots and leave no future trouble." As soon as he finished speaking, the burning shadow sword from Su Poman's back shot out. Fueled by his sword control technique, its blade shimmered with a subtle aura, and its tip radiated a sharp sword energy. The yellow-robed middle-aged man's expression tightened. He placed a tortoise-shell-shaped protective magical device before him and began chanting a spell. Clang. After just one clash, a crisscross of cracks appeared on the shell's surface. Seeing this, the yellow-robed middle-aged man's face paled, and he chanted his incantation faster. "Since you won't let me live, I can't be afraid to attack you just because you're a sect disciple. Try my minor heavenly thunder technique, which I unleash with most of my spiritual energy." A frenzied look crossed the yellow-robed middle-aged man's face. He stared intently at Su Poman, pointed his fingers at the sky, and then quickly pulled them down. As his fingers pointed, a blinding white light suddenly flashed across the sky. Then, a bolt of purple-blue lightning, as thick as an arm, instantly fell. Boom. "Haha, you're still not dead," the yellow-robed middle-aged man laughed manically. A puff of white smoke appeared where Su Poman had been. When it cleared, the yellow-robed man's smile froze. "How is that possible?" Su Poman, unharmed, stood elsewhere in the smoke, looking at him with a strange expression. "Nice spell. It's just that your aim is a bit off." A large, charred area appeared on the ground half a meter in front of him. "Impossible. My spell is a lock." "Alright, stop talking. Go to hell." The sword flash instantly pierced the tortoise shell, then shattered the spiritual shield. It circled around the man's head before returning to the sword case behind him. The yellow-robed middle-aged man froze in place. Before he could finish his words, a thin, long red line suddenly appeared on his neck, followed by blood. With a gurgle, his head rolled off his body, and a large amount of blood gushed out of his cavity, forming a crimson fountain. All this happened in a flash. Silence. A deathly stillness fell. The chatter of the wandering cultivators suddenly ceased, each one like a duck with its throat strangled. What a huge disparity in power. Is he really only at the 4th level of key refining? Even if the sect's cultivators are strong, they can't be this outrageous, right? A wandering cultivator at the 6th level of key refining was killed so easily. Even that powerful lightning spell couldn't harm him. Su Poman ignored the other's thoughts. He stretched out his right hand and grasped at the air. Storage bags automatically unfastened their straps and flew from the yellow-robed man's waist. He then activated several fireball talismans, incinerating their bodies. After collecting the spoils, Su Poman approached Kadir and the others. "Let's go." "Yes, young master." "Yes, Hall Master Su." After the others left, many wandering cultivators gathered at the scene of the battle to take a closer look. This should be the place where the thunder spell was struck. Tisk-tisk, that person is so stupid. He could actually cast the spell crookedly at such a close distance. Look at these sword marks on the rocks next to it. That flying sword is indeed extraordinary. Such hard basalt iron rock was scratched with such deep dents. Is this a cultivator from Liang sect? I'm so envious. Next time I want to participate in Liang sect's founding ceremony, don't be naive. The immortal trial is not something that ordinary cultivators can pass. Moreover, I think this person is probably a relative of an elder. He owns a top-grade magic weapon at the 4th level of key refining. He must have a deep background. How can an ordinary cultivator from Liang sect be so perverted? Su Poman first took a few people to Xiandu City, found an inn first, and changed into the blood-red robe of a disciple of Liang sect. When he went out again, he suddenly felt that the number of prying eyes around him decreased a lot. Kabir and Ruzu flanked them, with Kongqi and the other 4 following behind. They began strolling through the streets of the 7th Ward Market, from dusk until late at night. Su Poman, now well stocked with spirit stones, would buy anything he saw useful. Even if it wasn't useful to him, if the 2 women beside him liked it, he would buy it for them. Besides some elixirs and talismans, Su Poman also bought several bottles of Yangmei pills for Kongqi and the others. These would save them considerable time during the induction of key phase. The next morning, Su Poman and the 2 women came down from upstairs, and Kongqi and the other 4 sat in a corner on the 1st floor, waiting. The streets were still relatively quiet, and the dim morning light reflected a shimmering light from the white marble slabs. "Hey, have you heard? Recently, It seems that a demon who is wanted by the Immortal Cultivation Alliance has sneaked into our Nanayu Kingdom's Immortal Cultivation world. Now there is a panic outside, and many independent cultivators dare not travel far. I just heard about it yesterday. Even the defenders of Nanayu Kingdom were alarmed. After the Alliance issued an order, notices were posted in the market of each major sect, but it's useless. If anyone sees that demon, they are probably dead and there is no chance to report it. I just went to see the notice. The wanted criminal who came here this time is a demon in the false infant realm. He practices the Dream Eater. I heard that he can sneak into the dreams of others to kill. If someone is killed in a dream, he will not be able to survive. His soul will be devoured by it, leaving only an intact body. Such beings are really unheard of. They are extremely weird. Hiss. This demonic monster is so powerful before he even reaches the nascent soul stage. Are Nanayu defenders just going to watch him do evil everywhere? Can't they do anything about it? It is said that the Immortal Cultivation Alliance has sent out patrol guards to capture him, but they are still on the way. Moreover, that demonic monster has a strange way of restraining his aura. Ordinary search methods can't find him at all. We can only roughly judge the scope of his wandering through magic weapons. Besides, the defenders have their own duties. They are unable to control this kind of demonic monster that sneaks in. Alice, the worst off are us low-level cultivators. We might be swallowed by that monster at any time and turned into food for them to improve their cultivation. Chapter 185 Mountain Gate. Su Poman listened to these messages in the inn, a sense of urgency building within him. He stood up from his seat and waved to the crowd, "Let's go." As they passed the city gate, Su Poman glanced at the notice board and, as expected, saw the arrest warrant for the evil path demon. His features were hideous and ferocious, his evil eyes devoid of pupils, only lotus-like patterns. He looked like an alien being. Facing such a demonic being that directly attacked the soul, Su Poman had little confidence in his ability to escape unscathed. Superman's physical strength was formidable, and his soul was naturally robust, but he had no means of attacking or defending it. It was like a child wielding a blue flaming Gatling gun against a strong man with his bare hands. While the opponent was overwhelmingly powerful, they had no means of direct confrontation. Furthermore, the evil path demon was known for his cunning and shameless nature. Not only did he target a target with a single shot, he also frequently resorted to sneak attacks to slaughter lower-level cultivators, making him virtually impossible to defend against. Superman's soul, empowered by his super brain, is undoubtedly many times stronger than that of an ordinary cultivator. However, compared to a demonic cultivator at the false infant realm who specializes in soul-destroying techniques, it's difficult to determine who's stronger. The group left Xianju City and slowly made their way along the mountain path toward the Liang sect's main gate. You will enter the Liang sect as my servants. At the next Liang sect opening ceremony, you'll be able to participate in the immortal rank trial. Passing the trial will allow you to become a full disciple of the Liang sect. With demonic forces wreaking havoc in the world of immortal cultivation, the sect's security will likely be strengthened, and inspections at the main gate will likely be stricter than usual. Just cooperate with the inspections. With me here, they won't give you any trouble, Su Poman explained as they walked. Yes, young master, Master Su, we follow your orders. Understood. The rugged mountain road seemed endless. The snow on the nearby peaks had begun to melt. The closer they got to the Liang sect, the denser the spiritual energy of heaven and earth became, and the surrounding scenery slowly transformed. Nourished by the spiritual energy, ancient trees grew taller, their leaves evergreen. The massive mountain gate loomed in the distance, and the fiery red statue of the blazing sun radiated a blazing red light, striking the audience against the towering peaks. Rosie, who couldn't help but cover her slightly parted lips, and asked blankly, "Young master, is that a sun?" "No, it's just a statue on the mountain gate." "Don't make a fuss, you'll get used to it," Su Poman said with a smile. Standing before the mountain gate were two teams of guarding disciples. Their cultivation had reached a late stage of key refining. They scanned the passing disciples expressionlessly. If they spotted an unfamiliar face or someone acting suspiciously, they would stop them for questioning, demanding their sect tokens for identification. The arrival of Su Poman and his companions caught their attention. One of the handsome young men, upon noticing Su Poman's robes, was stunned for a moment, wondering, is that a sequence disciple? How come his cultivation is so low, only at the 4th level of key refining? Brother Lu, I know him. His name is Su Poman. He just joined the Lower Taoist Academy last year. He's so lucky to have been noticed by Master Ouyang of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion and accepted as his personal disciple, instantly boosting his status to the sequence level. I heard he has useless spiritual roots, another round-faced young man explained with a hint of sourness. So that's how it is. I didn't expect a visitor to be a senior disciple. Everyone, come and stand still so we can properly examine this junior disciple, Lu Yu said in an eerie, teasing voice. The other disciples of the guard chuckled and quickly returned to their original positions, silently observing Su Poman and his companions on the distant mountain road with amusement on their faces. As elite disciples of the Upper Dao Academy, they naturally harbored pride. Seeing a disciple with limited spiritual roots enter the order ahead of them evoked a sense of insecurity, as if the place had been snatched away. Stop! A sudden, rebuking voice startled the passing disciples, who all stopped and looked over. Who are you, and why are you bringing so many mortals into the sect? Lu Yu demanded coldly, his manner businesslike. Su Poman was stunned for a moment, his expression slightly grim. He slapped his storage bag and tossed his token over. These disciples guarding the gate, checking identities, even if they held some authority, couldn't possibly be so rude. Su Poman wasn't one to swallow his anger. Even though he held a higher position, he would always be humble and polite to those who treated him well. But the guard's attitude was so rude, and he naturally didn't want to be treated with such displeasure. Lu Yu took the token, examined it twice carefully, then weighed it before handing it to another guard disciple. He then walked over to Su Poman and said in a didactic tone, "So it's Junior Master Su. The world of immortal cultivation has been a bit uneasy lately. Why are you bringing so many mortals back to the sect? Are you using our Liang sect's resources to support so many mortals? That's such a waste. You're a sequence disciple and a disciple of Master Ouyang. You have countless resources at your disposal, but you don't practice well. You're wasting your time on, Pa." A resounding slap landed hard on Lu Yu's face. Silence fell on the scene. The onlookers at the mountain gate gaped in surprise. Kong Qi and Kei Yaner, who followed behind, were also confused and bewildered. Did the hall master ask us to cooperate with the inspection? Why was he slapping people? This was too sudden. Yin Wanchao couldn't help but exclaim, "Holy crap!" Though he didn't understand why the hall master had acted this way, he was internally exclaiming, "Awesome!" His expression wore a look of eager anticipation. "Young master, what's wrong with him? Why would he suddenly attack?" Ruzu asked cautiously. "Miss Ruzu, don't worry. The hall master must have his reasons for doing this, and nothing will happen." Yin Wanchao approached to reassure him, patting his chest confidently. "No one knows the hall master better than I do. We'll just sit back and watch." The other disciples guarding the mountain gate were also stunned by the slap, momentarily unsure how to react. "Are you telling me what to do?" Su Poman asked in a cold voice. Lu Yu was stunned by the slap. He stared at Su Poman in disbelief, completely unaware that he had actually slapped him. In his anger, he subconsciously forgot that, as a cultivator in the late key refining stage, he hadn't even dodged the sudden attack of a cultivator in the fourth key refining stage. Chapter 186 Lessons. "How dare you?" He covered his face with one hand and took several steps back, his eyes filled with murderous intent. "How dare I?" Su Poman sneered, then shouted, "Are you, a disciple, blind? Can't you recognize my sequence robes? According to the sect's rules, you should salute me first. Did you salute just now? For this alone, I should have hit you. It's one thing for you to scold me in public and make me stop for inspection, but you even dared to interfere in my private affairs. Who do you think you are? This slap is to make you realize your place. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You want to show off in front of me? I'll make you a fool. You're just a useless person at the fourth level of key refining, and you really think you're someone important." Lu Yu couldn't help but retort. He was so angry that his whole body was shaking slightly, his fists were clenched white, and he tried his best to suppress the urge to attack. Su Poman raised his hand again, and Lu Yu instinctively stepped back, thinking, "I was careless before, I didn't dodge. With your strength, I don't believe you can do it this time." Slap, another resounding slap. Lu Yu's eyes faltered as he stared at Su Poman, who had reappeared before him. Besides the burning pain on his face, he was also filled with humiliation. "I used all my skills to dodge, how could I still get hit?" The onlookers were startled, their faces filled with astonishment, and those closer began to whisper, "Who is this person? So domineering. I've been annoyed with these guard disciples for a long time. They stand at the door all day long and act like they're worth a fortune, as if the Liang sect is owned by their family. Keep your voice down, it'll be terrible if you're heard. Judging from their attire, they should be from the lineage of our sect's sequence disciples. I heard everything even though you weren't there. The leader, Liu, actually yelled at the sequence disciple to stop. He was deliberately trying to humiliate him, and in the end he even said, I see, he deserves it, but this sequence disciple looks a little unfamiliar, and his cultivation is a little low. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Liu's face flushed, then turned livid. He glared at Su Poman fiercely, his eyes filled with resentment and defiance. Though he desperately wanted to retaliate, he dared not. According to sect rules, if he did, it would be considered insubordination, punishable by severe punishment. He clenched his teeth, feeling a knot of anger simmering in his chest, unable to vent. His hatred for Su Poman had reached its peak. If you've done something wrong, you must admit it. If you're beaten, you must stand at attention. Today, I won't bother with you, a brat. If there's another time, Su Poman ignored the hatred in Liu's eyes. He snorted coldly and walked away. If he encountered such a small-time character outside the sect, he would have 1,000 ways to make him disappear. Inside, he was even less likely to stand up to him. He waved to Ruzu and Gadir, and Quanqi and the others quickly followed, passing through the mountain gate and entering the Liang sect. Is this the Immortal Gate? It's truly different. Yaner marveled at the pavilions and towers adorned with pearls and jade. It's truly different. It's like the air itself is different. It's so comfortable to breathe. The group passed through a series of ancient and elegant buildings, arriving at Xianyang Peak from Guangqi Peak. A black iron chain, as thick as a bucket, stretched out from the mist. Its surface was impossibly smooth, as if it had no support. Beneath the iron chain lay a bottomless abyss. A mortal who accidentally fell would be shattered to pieces. This chain is incredibly smooth, and the mist obscures vision. Without spiritual awareness, it's easy to slip and fall. I'll take Katir and Ruzu there first, and I'll pick you up later. Su Poman turned and instructed Quanqi and the others. Yes, Hall Master Su. Su Poman lifted Katir and Ruzu, one in each arm, and gently floated forward, stepping directly onto the chain and soaring into the air. Young master, can't you fly? Why are you stepping on chains? Katir asked curiously, watching the clouds drift by below. Su Poman smiled and sent a message to the two women. This is my secret. There are many powerful people in the sect. I can't show this ability now, otherwise it will cause unnecessary trouble. Katir and Ruzu nodded thoughtfully. I have to explain this to Quanqi and the others later. Otherwise, if I let it slip later, it will be troublesome, Su Poman thought to himself. In the clifftop courtyard, Su Poman arranged for Quanqi and the others to stay in a side hall and let them practice the mountain-moving body refining art on their own. After the two women were arranged, he activated the formation alone and left. Su Poman strolled down Xianyang Peak and headed towards the Sword Monastery on Guangqi Peak. He planned to return to speak with his master and get a feel for his situation. Once the evil leader outside was apprehended, he would go find elixirs to heal his injuries. The sun was blazing, and most of the stone houses were closed. The disciples of the lower Taoist academy were mostly practicing their techniques, so the streets were sparse. Following the mountain path, Su Poman entered the Sword Monastery. In the open space beside the road, a few disciples occasionally practiced sword techniques, and the occasional clanging sound could be heard. As he reached the entrance of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, he was greeted warmly from inside. Young Master Su, you're here. A short, plump figure rushed out, a bright smile plastered on his face. He looked up and said, Oh, young Master Su. I haven't seen you for months. You've become even more handsome, haha, senior brother Zhang, you're joking. Su Poman waved his hands repeatedly, nodding inwardly. Friend, you've made great strides, how can I be joking? I'm serious. Young Master Su, don't stand at the door. Please come in, Zhang Yu invited with a smile. Su Poman nodded and said, Okay. With that, the two of them entered the Wanjianfang together. By the way, young Master Su, I have something to tell you. Young Master Tang just went upstairs. It seems he has something to ask Lord Yang. Would you like to go up now or later? Zhang Yu asked directly through his spiritual sense. Su Poman raised an eyebrow at this and said, Of course I'll go up now. I'd like to see what this senior brother Tang is doing here. He then patted his storage bag, pulled out the black sword token, and headed straight up the stairs. The path was smooth and unobstructed, and Su Poman trod briskly, reaching the top floor of the pentagonal black building in a matter of seconds. Seeing the wooden door ajar, Su Poman pushed it open without hesitation. Upon entering the room, he saw Tangze, modest and eager to learn, asking Yu Yanghong a question. Tangze was a bit surprised by Su Poman's arrival, and a flicker of displeasure flashed across his eyes, but he said nothing. Disciple greets master. Yes. Yang Hong's face lit up with a hint of joy. Just returned? Yes, I just returned to the sect and came to pay my respects to you, Su Poman answered honestly. You've arrived just in time. Tangze has a few questions. Please help him answer them. I'm too lazy to waste any more words. This is a good opportunity to check if you've been slacking off lately, Yang Hong said slowly. Tangze. Chapter 187, Solving the Mystery. Although Tangze was puzzled, since Yang Hong said so, he had to do it. He turned to look at Su Poman, with contempt in his eyes. Since Master asked junior brother Su to answer for me, then I will tell you my doubts. No problem, tell me. Su Poman didn't care. After the Superman physique was perfected, his super brain was always on. While on the road, he read the contents of the Sword Forging Inheritance Jade Slip. Not only did he know the knowledge of sword forging well in his mind, but he also mastered some of the refining theories recorded in it. What he lacked now was practice. Tangze snorted lightly and said with a smile, Junior brother Su is really confident. Then I will not be polite. Master taught me some knowledge about sword-making fusion before. One of the steps was described like this: spiritual essence is lifeless and the gathering of energy increases, which completes the Kanghe dispersion and increases merit. So, may I ask, how should this sentence be interpreted? This sentence is too simple. Su Poman raised his eyebrows, with a faint sneer on his face, and slowly explained, the profound meaning of this sentence is that when fusing materials, you must use the lifeless handprint to support the foundation, and then use the fire control formation to stimulate the fire aura, and slowly use the flame to quench the impurities in the material. When the fire attribute aura gathers to the peak, add Kanghe Lulisha. The water attribute in it will burst out in the fire aura, further expelling the impurities in the material, similar to the quenching process of mortal blacksmiths. The word skuta requires the use of Xianhuasan handprint, which can separate the impurities from the material with the greatest effect and discharge them at the same time. Su Poman spoke eloquently, looking like he was giving orders, his demeanor remarkably relaxed. Yang Hong nodded from time to time, his aged face brimming with admiration as he looked at him. Tangze's gaze was filled with surprise, and he angrily said, This boy started swordsmithing much later than I did, yet he understands it even more profoundly now. It must be that old Yang Hong didn't teach me the real thing, and instead gave him some special treatment. Otherwise, how could I possibly be inferior to him with my talent? His face showed one of humility and willingness to learn, with a flicker of sudden realization. After Su Poman finished his explanation, Tangze didn't want it to end like that. He had to find a few difficult questions to stump him, otherwise, by comparison, he would seem like a complete loser. I got it. The jade slip that old man gave me contains several extremely difficult and obscure sections. Just reading it gives me a headache. I've picked out a few questions from that section. I don't believe you can understand them all. Tangze's eyes flashed, and a smile appeared on his face. He said slowly, I see. I was thinking too much before. It's really not right to overthink such a simple question. By the way, Junior brother Su, I have a few more questions. I wonder if you can answer them. I've been thinking about them for a long time, but I only understand a small part. There are still some things I haven't thought about in detail. Why don't you help me solve them? Yang Hong's impression of Tangze worsened after hearing this, and he couldn't help but shake his head secretly. Whatever you want to ask, just ask it all. Su Poman said bluntly. Tangze's face lit up with delight, clapping his hands and sighing, Great. First question, the number of the earth, the number of the stems, 6 and 9, the ancient path of dreaming and merging heavens, passing through 9 and 3, the formation is fixed and solidified, the armor does not generate flames, the unicorn guards. What does this sentence mean? Yang Hong frowned upon hearing this question, for this was one of the most obscure and difficult parts of the swordsmithing way. Although the jade slip he had originally given Tangze mentioned this, he hadn't explained it in detail, as he hadn't expected Tangze to grasp it to that level. But now, He had presented this sentence in this form, the difficulty of which was beyond the comprehension of beginners like them. Although Su Poman was extremely talented in the swordsmithing way, Yang Hong felt that solving this problem would require at least another 20 or 30 years of study before he could gain his own understanding. Moreover, this kind of thing can only be understood, not explained. Yang Hong waved his hand, about to interrupt, when he suddenly heard Su Poman's voice again. That's easy. The Earth number is branch 72, the DUI trigram is sealed 69, and the heavenly stems carry the force of rain and fire. The heavenly union ancient road is, Su Poman answered without hesitation. With his super brain, this problem was child's play, solving it without a trace of difficulty. Yang Hong's arms dangled in the air, his eyes widening with shock. Watching Su Poman continue to speak, he suddenly felt the urge to cry, his heart filled with deep comfort and inexplicable nostalgia. My path is not alone, my path will never end. Tang's brows furrowed deeply, his face a look of doubt. He hesitated to speak, as if a mouthful of phlegm was stuck in his throat. I understand every word he says, but I can't understand him when he puts it together. What is he talking about? Is he talking nonsense? Why is he so serious? Is there something wrong with my comprehension? It's impossible. How could my talent be inferior to his useless spiritual roots? Yes, he must be talking nonsense. I'll know from a sneak peek at the old Fu Yang's expression. Tangza tilted his head slightly and glanced at Yang Hong out of the corner of his eye, but that expression made him even more confused. What the hell? Why are you crying after listening to this? I seriously suspect that you two, master and disciple, are teaming up to play a trick on me. Then I'm leaving. No way. What are you talking about? It's such a short sentence. Why are you talking at length? It's really annoying. I want to sleep. It's so boring. What is he talking about? Let's go to Beixianglao to eat something later. After Tunhua, it becomes strange. Use the literal formation to calculate the number of 49, and you get the furnace fire returning to Kun. This method can also be changed. The number of stems can be adjusted according to the characteristics of the materials, but another method is needed to determine the specific number of stems for different materials. Tangs, do you understand? Su Poman finished speaking, glanced at Tangzat, and asked with a smile. Good. 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 Before Tangza could reply, Yang Hong suddenly stood up from his seat and said good 3 times in a row, his expression very excited. Tangza looked at Yang Hong in bewilderment. Feeling his own state of mind slipping, you guys keep acting, I'll be leaving soon. No time to lose, disciple, I never imagined you'd come this far in the art of swordsmithing, able to independently deduce an entire swordsmithing process. You've truly astonished me. Yang Hong walked directly up to Su Poman, gripping his shoulders tightly with both hands. His eyes were red, and he spoke, his aged face brimming with joy. With you doing this, I can rest easy even if I die now. Chapter 188 Fantasy Flower. Huh? Su Po was stunned. Looking at Yang Hong who looked extremely excited, he couldn't help but frowning and muttered in a low voice, isn't this a very simple question? Master, why are you so excited? Yang Hong coughed twice, turned his head to look at Tangzat, and said lightly, Tangzat, you go back first, I will teach you some other things tomorrow. Tangzat blinked, bowed to Yang Hong, and said, Master, then the disciple will withdraw first. Finally let me go, I really don't want to stay here for a moment, let's go to Beixianglao to order food. My head hurts. Yang Hong waved his hand, motioning Tangzat to leave quickly. After noticing that Tangzat had left, Su Poman asked curiously, Master, isn't Tangzat just a nominal disciple? Why are you suddenly passing these things to him? Well, it's a long story. The sect leader got a broken illusion flower from somewhere, and in exchange, asked me to pass on the sword forging way to Tangzat. If it were before, I would definitely refuse, but if I could live longer, I could lead you further. After comprehensive consideration, I agreed to him. If I had known that your research on the sword forging way had reached such a deep level, I would have refused this exchange, but now that the deal has been made, we can only continue. I'd also like to live a few more years to protect you. Yang Hong sighed and explained slowly. Su Poman nodded, then asked meaningfully, can the illusion flower that Master mentioned before heal your injuries? Yes, but it will take a lot. At least 5 illusion flowers can completely heal the injuries on my soul. The incomplete flower that Chizayar gave me can only delay my death a little, Yang Hong said bluntly. Now Su Poman is his direct disciple and will inherit his mantle in the future. He is like his own son. There is no need to deliberately conceal anything. Su Poman had a questioning look on his face and continued to ask, Master, where can we find this fantasy flower? This elixir exists in the Kyanfan's secret realm at the border of King Country and Cheyenne Can Country. However, the Kyanfan's secret realm is full of dangers. Even if a Yuanying stage master goes there, there is the danger of falling. It is too difficult to obtain. If your strength is not at the Yuanying stage, you will die if you go in, Yang Hong said in a deep voice. The warning in his words was self-evident. Although he didn't know why Su Poman suddenly asked about this, he couldn't let him lose his life in vain with the idea of trying his luck. The horror of that place was such that even if he was in his prime, he had to explore it carefully. Su Poman's heart moved quietly, and he calculated silently, my current strength, excluding the means of attack and defense of the soul, should be beyond the nascent soul stage. Going to the Kyanfan's secret realm should not be a problem. Wait until next month, and then I will draw new ability to find some illusion flowers. Master, when I came back this time, I heard about the demon Liu Chuanzong. I wonder if there will be any danger in staying in the Liang sect. I've also heard about this. Although there's a mountain protection formation in the Liang sect, it's not safe. Evil cultivators like that have all sorts of weird methods. If I were in my prime, I wouldn't be afraid of them and would be able to protect you. But now it's really a bit troublesome. Liu Chuanzong practices the Dream Eater, which allows him to enter dreams and devour the souls of others to replenish his own. Although there are some drawbacks, it's completely unsolvable for low-level cultivators. How about this? I'll give you a magical tool to protect the soul. Once it infiltrates you while you're asleep, it will wake you up through external force. This is a little gadget I refined to heal my soul injuries. I didn't expect it to be able to restrain the Dream Eater. As long as you're awake, you shouldn't have to worry about your soul being devoured. As Yang Hong spoke, he flipped his hand and pulled out a rectangular jade pendant, handing it to Su Poman. He solemnly warned, if this jade pendant cracks, it means you're under attack from the spirit. Remember not to fall asleep, and come to me immediately. Understood? Thank you, Master. Su Poman hung the jade pendant around his waist and discussed sword forging and weapon refining with Yang Hong before leaving the Wanjianfang. Returning to the clifftop courtyard, Su Poman activated all his formations. Taking advantage of the still light hours, he flew directly to the training platform atop the stone pillar and, using the daylight, began practicing the scorching sun technique. Cheyenne Peak was a spiritual gathering formation, and the concentration of spiritual energy was several levels higher than elsewhere. As Su Poman activated the scorching sun technique, the sun's true fire seemed to be attracted by something, bringing with it a surge of spiritual energy. In a single instant, Su Poman's body was filled with the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and spiritual mist rose with every breath. His cultivation had raised the concentration of spiritual energy in the courtyard to a terrifying level. In the side hall, Kong Qi was attempting to draw the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into his body. Within his sea of consciousness, a sea of multicolored light appeared, with red being the most numerous and dense. He took a deep breath, and his 100,000 pores widened. The fire attributed spiritual energy, which had previously required considerable effort to draw in, seemed to have finally found an outlet, flowing spontaneously into his body. Kong Qi's face contorted, and he couldn't help but cry out in pain. He quickly swallowed another nourishing meridian pill. When he opened his eyes again, he was stunned to feel that a significant portion of his meridians had been pierced by the spiritual energy. Su Poman sat upright on the training platform, concentrating all his energy on refining the spiritual energy within him. Strands of pure spiritual energy circulated through his meridians, completing a full cycle, and entered his danshan. The burning silence sword radiated a crimson light, and directly above his danshan, it welcomed the constant tempering of incoming spiritual energy, transforming a portion of it into sword essence. Su Poman's cultivation continued to accumulate at an incredible rate. Although his danshan's capacity was vastly different from that of an average person, the spiritual energy within it continued to increase at a rate visible to his divine senses. Every time he refined the absorbed spiritual energy, he was one step closer to his next breakthrough. Cultivation is like no time. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. After this period of practice, Su Poman's cultivation level continued to break through, reaching the 6th level of the key refining stage. However, to avoid drawing attention, he deliberately took the time to cultivate the ancient breath-hardening technique to perfection, maintaining his displayed cultivation level at the 4th level. In addition, The progress of the mountain-moving body refining art is also not slow. From the original 3rd level of key refining, it has broken through to the 5th level of key refining. The spiritual energy refined is all absorbed through the daytime scorching sun technique, so there is a trace of golden flame in the. Su Poman has not yet figured out the specific function of this unknown change. Chapter 189, Sky-Swallowing Three-Eyed Clam. Many events had occurred recently. Besides rumors of the Blood Goose sect's demise, the most sensational was the attack on the Five-Element sect by the evil demon Liu Chuanzong. Several elite disciples of the sect had mysteriously perished. Their bodies, discovered unharmed, their spirits vanished, as if they were asleep. Their faces, however, were distorted, as if they had suffered horrific shock and inhuman torture before death. For a time, this incident caused widespread panic. Many disciples of the Five-Element sect even stopped sleeping, resorting to continuous practice instead. Several other sects were also affected, forcing them to heighten their vigilance. In reality, for cultivators below the Jinden stage, sleep is the best way to restore mental strength. While practitioners can go 3 to 5 days without sleep, they can easily become exhausted over extended periods and need to rely on sleep to restore their mental strength. A cultivator in the key refining stage can typically go 7 days without sleep, otherwise their body will suffer, their mind will become hazy, and they will be more vulnerable to invasion by evil spirits. A cultivator in the foundation establishment stage can go even longer, with those with powerful spirits able to go for half a month or even a month without sleep. Only those who have reached the golden core stage can continuously replenish their spiritual energy during the practice, completely replacing sleep with spiritual practice. This problem was relatively simple for Su Poman. With his superhuman physique, he could maintain peak mental and physical strength by basking in the sun during the day, requiring no sleep at all. Therefore, he felt relatively safe. However, the other cultivators in the sect were not so lucky. Many were terrified and unable to sleep, even showing signs of possessiveness. Since the incident with the Five Elements sect, Su Poman had been awake and alert at all times, practicing the scorching sun technique during the day and the mountain refining body technique at night, but he didn't feel overly anxious. However, new rumors circulated in the Nanayu Immortal Cultivation market. The evil demon Liu Chuanzong possessed a strange hypnotic technique, capable of telekinesis, lulling people to sleep and then devouring their souls with the uncanny ability of dream eating. For several days, several members of the Five Element sect were found dead in their caves, including 2 elders in the Foundation establishment stage. After this incident, the Five Element sect elders, feeling threatened, emerged from their retreats and gathered with their disciples in the Yuluo Hall, watching over each other to prevent anyone nearby from falling into coma. Furthermore, several of the sect's supreme elders employed their powers, obtaining a yin-yang soul calming talisman from the higher sect and incorporating it into the mountain protection formation. At a significant cost, they awakened the ancestral land's guardian beast, the sky-swallowing three-eyed clam. The sky-swallowing three-eyed clam is an ancient species, sporting a 3rd vertical eye. It possesses the miraculous power of captivating souls. Thousands of years ago, it was raised as a protective spirit by a supreme elder. After his death, he left the creature to inhabit his ancestral lands, where it gradually became a pillar of the Five Element sect's heritage. Over time, the creature's cultivation deepened. And one night during a thunderstorm, it transcended the tribulation and reached the nascent soul stage. However, due to insufficient preparation before the tribulation, it suffered severe, near-fatal injuries during the lightning strike and was forced to enter a deep sleep to recover. Now that the Five Element sect has awakened its nascent soul guardian beast, coupled with the miraculous effects of the yin-yang soul calming talisman, the Five Element sect's cultivators have gained some confidence in their fight against the evil cultivators. In a deep, humid valley, atop a boulder sat a 50-year-old man, wearing a conical hat and possessing an ungainly, grotesque appearance. His entire body was shrouded in a slate-gray smoke. A red vertical line streaked between his brows, and his eyes, a muddy lime color, were etched with circles of lotus veins that seemed to swirl endlessly. Suddenly, the slate-gray smoke rippled, cackled. A crow, reeking of decay, flew over and landed on his shoulder. It blinked twice, its eyes also a murky lime color, with faint lotus veins faintly visible. Hey! Just 2 Foundation establishment cultivators dead and you're already panicking. The Five Element sect truly possesses a knack, worthy of being a subordinate sect of the Yin-Yang sect. If I had known earlier, I would have harvested the souls of a few more Foundation establishment cultivators. It seems I'll have to shift my focus to those wandering cultivators with such a bad taste for now. As for the other sects, I'll visit them one by one once the Guardians find my location. Liu Chuanzong's face was full of ferocious evil, and his eyes had completely lost all human emotions, as if he was really a demon. He opened his mouth and licked his upper lip with his long tongue. His yellow teeth were covered with saliva. His spiritual sense swept out and stared at a loose cultivator market farthest from here. Although the souls of those loose cultivators are unpalatable, I can only endure them temporarily in order to seize the time to break through my cultivation. However, the patrol guards sent by the Immortal Cultivation Alliance are really useless. They have not been able to catch up for so long. As long as I can practice for some time, I will be able to condense an evil infant. By then, even the patrol guards will not be able to catch me. The world is so big, I can go anywhere. In comparison, I still prefer the souls of sect cultivators. He stood up and his figure disappeared in an instant, leaving only a wisp of blue-gray smoke on the spot. A breeze blew, and the wisp of smoke quickly dissipated between heaven and earth. A few more days passed, and the five-element sect remained peaceful. Even when some dozed off, no cases of souls being devoured occurred, which greatly encouraged the cultivators. After a few more days, they resumed their normal routines in cultivation. Beyond the Five Elements sect, within the cultivation markets, dire news continued to arrive. It seemed the demonic entity had shifted its focus, beginning to target independent cultivators in the various markets across southern spiritual continent. Many small markets were transformed into ghost towns overnight, their inhabitants reduced to cold corpses. Fear and panic spread throughout the cultivation world of southern spiritual continent. As more and more independent cultivators perished, many lost their nerve and simply abandoned their foundations, fleeing the land, hoping to escape the maelstrom of this horrific catastrophe. Some, however, wisely sought refuge outside the Five Elements sect's mountain gates. In the Wind and Rain Pavilion, at the front of the chess table sat an old man with a nano scarf on his head. His hair and beard were all white, but his skin was like a baby's. He gently put down the black chess piece in his hand, and then murmured, "Little fellow from the Corpse Yin sect, is it not enough now? The kingdom of Nanayu is already in chaos enough. Once that Liu Chuanzong becomes powerful, I'm afraid it will be difficult for this old man to deal with him." Opposite the chessboard sat a young man in a black robe with a pale face, no eyebrows or beard, and slightly red eyes. Behind him hung a pitch-black coffin. After the white-haired old man placed his piece, he did not hesitate at all and dropped the white piece in his hand heavily on the chessboard. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190 The Corpse Yin Sect's Absolute Evil. Senior Nai, you're joking. Before this trip, our master gave us a rare treasure that can break evil. Even if Liu Chuanzong is lucky enough to condense into a nascent soul, he can still be killed. The body of a cultivator that this creature took away with the dream-eating art is an excellent container. It can be sold directly without spending spiritual materials to repair and refine it. Moreover, after taking over the body, it will not affect the original body's footing, and there will not be too much karma from the heavenly Dao. In my Corpse Yin sect, it is a top-notch product. I promise to give you 30% of the profits. Naturally, this catastrophe should be delayed as long as possible, the young man in black robe said lightly, but his expression always remained calm, as if no matter how bloody his words were, they could not cause him to fluctuate emotionally. The white-haired old man sighed slightly, placed another chess piece, and said, "But I am the guardian of Nanayu Kingdom after all. If this matter gets too big, it will be difficult to explain to the Immortal Cultivation Alliance. Don't worry, Senior. Nanayu Kingdom is just a second-class cultivation country. I guarantee that no one in the Alliance will ask about this matter." The black-robed young man paused slightly, holding the white chess piece with two fingers, undecided, and once Liu Chuanzong sets his eyes on Yinsha sect, I will kill him with the force of thunder and never leave any trouble. Yinsha sect, haha, isn't that a subordinate sect of your Corpse Yin sect? You are worthy of being the wise and resourceful Master Jusha of the Corpse Yin sect. It seems that you have already planned this game of chess. The white-haired old man couldn't help but admire, and then changed the subject, his face solemn. Don't forget to send me the elixir as agreed before, otherwise, don't worry, Senior Nai. I've already reported this to Master. Once it's done, I'll personally deliver the Wunian wood fruit." The black-robed youth smiled faintly and dropped his white piece. In the Immortal Cultivation markets across Nanayu, several black-robed individuals wearing evil ghost masks were collecting the corpses of wandering cultivators. Their movements were ghostly and elusive, making them completely undetectable to lower-level cultivators. With the exception of the major sects, all bodies whose spirits had been devoured were collected into mortuary sacks, marked according to their aptitude, and preserved using special techniques. After spending some time in Nanling Island, Liu Chuanzong suddenly sensed a powerful divine consciousness descending, sweeping over him inch by inch, as if searching for him. He realized that his recent excessive slaughter had attracted the nation's guardians, so he quickly concealed his presence and fled eastward. Haha, the defenders of Nanai are only fit to eat dust behind me. The Five Element sect has a nascent soul stage guardian beast, and I doubt other sects have it either. Ordinary means are no match for my dream-eating ability. Liu Chuanzong transformed into a streak of ethereal light, darting towards the eastern holy continent. I remember which sect this eastern Nanai is from. It seems to be a subsect of the 7th-rank Hori True sect, called the Liang sect. I want to taste what a soul constantly exposed to the sun's true fire tastes like. It must be delicious. The events of southern spirit continent terrified many cultivators. Various immortal families and markets took various measures, and many even relocated their entire clans to the neighboring Kyanchuan kingdom to preserve their spiritual legacy. While rebuilding a new foundation might be difficult, it was better than perishing helplessly at the hands of that demonic demon. The Liang sect recently contacted the Hori True sect through secret methods, but due to its low rank and the lack of a true genius within the sect, it received no response. Instead, it passed down a formation called the True Yang Separation Formation, which is said to block spiritual observation and soul attacks, while also counteracting any intruders. The sect has recently devoted considerable effort to integrating this formation into its mountain protection formation. Unlike the Five Elements sect, which is entirely concentrated on 2 mountain ranges, the Liang sect stretches across thousands of miles. Its various institutions and locations, including Xiandu City, Dan Pagoda, and Black Flame Tower, are scattered across different areas of the Huayan Mountains, with some elders even occupying individual hilltops. While the Mountain Protection Formation encompasses a vast area, the True Yang Separation Formation is not a large-scale formation and cannot extend very far, encompassing only 2 or 3 mountains near the main peak. To cover the entire sect, dozens of these formations would be needed. Regardless of whether the materials could be gathered, the time required alone forced them to make a decision in advance. After some discussion, the 2 Grand Elders decided to first deploy the True Yang Divine Separation Formation around the main peak, Zihu Peak, Xianyang Peak, Dan Tower, and Black Flame Tower. The main peak, of course, was the core of the sect, and naturally required some protection. Zihu Peak housed some elders and elite disciples from the Upper Dao Academy. Xianyang Peak was home to sequence disciples and their families and servants. Dan Tower housed the alchemists and their apprentices, and Black Flame Tower housed the sect's various spellbooks, making it a crucial location. As for Guangqi Peak, where the outer disciples resided, it was simply abandoned. After all, the higher-ups considered Guangqi Peak to be home to only the early stages of key refining. Even if attacked by demonic demons, the losses wouldn't be particularly severe. At most, they could be sent to Zihu Peak for a few days of refuge. If that proved to be impossible, they could reopen the mountain gates and accept a new batch of disciples, allowing them to grow rapidly. Setting up this formation was extremely complex and energy-consuming. The Liang sect only had 3 people capable of setting it up, and they were severely short-handed. From the time of the Dream Eater disaster until today, the 3 formation masters had only completed the layout of the main peak and Zihu Peak. Xianyang Peak had just begun using a compass to locate the center of the formation and hadn't yet begun the full deployment. Meanwhile, high above the mist, an ugly old man in a conical hat hovered above the clouds. His sinister eyes stared at the convergence of mountains and rivers below, a shimmering light in their gaze. Such a dense spiritual energy. A vortex has formed above this place. How bizarre. Even a spirit-gathering array couldn't achieve this effect, could it? Liu Chuanzong muttered to himself. His spiritual sense, comparable to that of a false infant, swept downward, seeking to explore the source of the spiritual energy vortex. Huh? They actually have a formation that blocks spiritual sense. Haha, but this formation is too rudimentary. It can stop an ordinary giant in stage cultivator, but not me. Open it. The lotus patterns in Liu Chuanzong's eyes suddenly spun, and his spiritual sense condensed into fine needles, which then rained down upon the azure light barrier. Swish! A crack in the formation's operation was instantly pierced, and the scene within was instantly captured by Liu Chuanzong's spiritual sense, which then transmitted the image back to his mind. Interesting. He's only at the 4th level of key refining, yet he can absorb so much spiritual energy from the heavens and earth through his practice. He must have some kind of special opportunity. After I devour his soul, whatever opportunity it is, it will all be mine. Liu Chuanzong stared at Su Poman, who was practicing on the platform below, and chuckled softly. At this moment, Liu Chuanzong saw the man below suddenly open his eyes, glanced in his direction very abnormally, and then quickly lowered his head to continue practicing. Strange, the way he looked at me just now seemed strange. Liu Chuanzong was slightly startled, then shook his head. Impossible, we're so far away, and I've used the invisibility technique. Even a giant in stage cultivator wouldn't be able to spot me. He's just a small key refining stage cultivator. You're really overthinking it. Chapter 191 Swallowing Soul. Su Poman closed his eyes, cold sweat trickling down his hair. His super hearing had just caught a whisper overhead, and curiosity had piqued his curiosity, prompting him to use his clairvoyance to take a look. The strange attire and the soul-devouring eyes made him groan inwardly. A demonic demon. Damn. Isn't this evil cultivator from southern spiritual continent? Why has he suddenly arrived in eastern holy continent, and even landed right above my courtyard? Su Poman maintained a composed expression, yet his heart was filled with anxiety. While he possessed a physical strength to kill with a single blow, he feared the evil cultivator would suddenly go all out, unleashing some divine soul-controlling secret technique, or even simply abandoning his body and targeting him for possession. A superhuman soul was naturally much more powerful than that of an ordinary cultivator, but lacked the necessary defenses. It was like a cake versus an ant. The cake had the advantage in size and weight, but lacked the means to attack or defend itself, effectively allowing the ant to devour the cake. This is Su Poman's current situation. A giant soul, identical in appearance to Su Poman, lurks within the Nuan Palace, its entire form radiating a fearful aura, its surging soul energy creating streaks of brilliant light. No, I need to be more cautious. Today is the beginning of the month, so I need to use the purple source wheel to draw new ability that's immune to soul attacks. Su Poman steadied his mind, closed his eyes, and immersed his consciousness in the light of the purple source wheel. I still have over 80 million energy points, which should be enough to draw powerful ability. However, with so many beings in the universe, which one should I choose? Visualization? Eye of Destruction? Or the soul fruit? The incident happened suddenly, so it's probably too late to cultivate a spiritual cultivation technique. It's best to find one that strengthens the essence of the soul, without any obvious weaknesses. Su Poman pondered for a moment before suddenly sensing a subtle movement above the clouds. Then, a snapping sound came from beneath his robe. He quickly opened his eyes and saw that the rectangular jade pendant at his waist had shattered. Oh no! That evil cultivator has already begun attacking me. I can't delay any longer. Let the purple source roulette select a new ability for me. He forced himself to calm his thoughts, closed his eyes, and with a thought, he opened the purple source roulette side curtain and lightly tapped the words click to draw. Over 80 million energy points on the curtain instantly cleared to zero, transforming into a faint ray of light that vanished onto the purple source roulette. Click, 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 the ancient and mysterious wheel spun rapidly, and rays of light and shadow representing different abilities flickered across it, constantly evolving and disappearing. Searching for the target confirmed the target for this extraction is the Immortal Reversal World, Cave Realm, Extraterritorial Battlefield, Soul Devouring State, Wang Lin, establishing a link, extracting Ding, spent 831,901,00 energy points, extraction successful, gaining the new ability, Soul Devouring. Soul transformed into Soul Devouring, possessing the incredible fortune to reverse the laws of the soul. By devouring wandering souls, divine souls, and all other conscious entities, you can strengthen your own primordial spirit, spiritual soul, or restore the power of the primordial spirit, soul power. Ignoring level suppression, it is at the top of the food chain of conscious entities, possessing the ability to suppress all conscious entities except the soul devouring, and is immune to most attacks from divine souls or conscious entities. Purple source roulette, name, Su Poman, realm, key refining stage 6th level, bloodline, bronze Superman body, 100%, abilities. 1. Bronze Superman template, possessing all the abilities of a Bronze-era Superman, and can cultivate to the silver stage on their own. 2. Soul devouring, reversal of soul method, energy points. 0, minimum 10 energy points required for a single draw, available number. 0, current draw target, none. A burst of purple light exploded within Su Poman's Nuwan palace, bathing the giant soul in the violet light. Simultaneously, an illusory bead emerged from his sea of consciousness. Engraved with images of clouds, leaves, and flames, representing the 5 elements, the bead transformed into liquid, merging into the shrunken soul. The once towering soul shrank, its ethereal form solidifying. A closer look revealed delicate lines resembling those of a real person, and fingerprints appeared on its palms. These signs were not characteristic of a soul, only a primordial spirit at the spiritual transformation stage could possess such a lifelike form. The soul continued to shrink. Amidst the purple light, it was now only the size of a fist, more than 10 times smaller than its original size. Su Poman felt a constant stream of coolness and chaos in his consciousness, as if he had shed layers of shackles. His soul became lighter, more transparent, and more resilient. This was a fundamental transformation, like a cat transforming into a tiger. Deep within his soul, a sense of supremacy emerged, as if he had suddenly become the lord of all souls. It felt like an eternity in the Nuwan palace, but to the outside world, it was only a moment. Above the clouds, Liu Chuanzong had already begun to use his dream-inducing magic, but found it hadn't worked. A quick sweep of his spiritual sense revealed the shattered white jade pendant at Su Poman's waist, and he instantly understood the reason. This boy possesses such a soul-defending magical device. He seems quite high up in the Liang sect, but even so, you can't escape my grasp. Just as he was about to unleash his power, Liu Chuanzong suddenly felt a shuddering, apprehensive feeling, like a rabbit being stared at by a hawk. A trembling throbbed through his soul. What's going on? A flicker of doubt flashed in Liu Chuanzong's sinister gray eyes. He then released his spiritual sense, scanning the surroundings several times. Frowning, he muttered, "The Sky Patrol guards aren't here. Am I overthinking?" At that moment, a gaze caught his attention. Su Po's eyes, a faint purple light gleaming, gazed beyond the formation, hundreds of feet into the sky. The two stared at each other for a long moment. How is it possible that this guy discovered me? Liu Chuanzong's expression was slightly stunned. The next moment, he suddenly felt the hairs on his back stand on end, because the young cultivator in the 4th level of the key refining stage in the yard actually disappeared under his nose. Then, a voice came from behind him. "Old man, are you the demon Liu Chuanzong who devours people's souls everywhere?" Su Poman folded his arms, stood in the air, and looked at Liu Chuanzong with cold eyes. Liu Chuanzong seemed to have a thunderclap in his head. He looked at Su Poman up and down in dismay, and a turbulent wave had already set off in his heart. What kind of cultivation level is he? Why did he suddenly appear behind me when I was completely unprepared? Could it be that he encountered some hermit and powerful person? But this cultivation level is clearly at the key refining stage. No, there must be something hidden. How could a key refining stage cultivator fly? This must be an old monster living in seclusion here. I didn't expect to provoke him. No wonder I suddenly had this impulse before. It's over, it's over. What should I do? For a master like this, my dream-eating skills should be useless. I can only find a way to temporarily stabilize him, and then take the opportunity to perform the escape technique. Chapter 192 Xianheng Dao Sect. A bitter look appeared on Liu Chuanzong's lips. He bowed respectfully and said, "Greetings to the senior. I apologize for disturbing your meditation. Please be magnanimous and don't take it to heart. I will leave here soon and will never come to Liang sect to cause trouble again. Please forgive me, senior." Haha, you may have misunderstood. This young master is not a senior. I have only been practicing for nearly 2 years. You saw it right. This young master is now in the key refining stage. I can fly in the air because of the power of the spiritual body, Su Poman said complacently, looking like a conceited prodigy. Upon hearing this, Liu Chuanzong's expression changed instantly, his breathing became heavy, and a gleam of light flashed in his evil eyes. Spirit body? Could the spirit body that can fly be the legendary Yifeng spirit body? It seems not. You kid are really ridiculous. You actually revealed your true identity. It seems you are tired of living. I like the souls of geniuses like you the most. There is a mixture of spiritual energy in them, which is the most delicious. I will collect your spirit body and refine it into an external incarnation, which is just right to assist me in my practice. Hetty, do you have any last words? If you don't say it now, you will have no chance. I heard that your dream eating art is quite powerful. Why don't you let this young master see it and pull me into the dream to play? Su Po said provocatively with a strange light in his eyes. Liu Chuanzong's face darkened, and he chuckled in anger. Good. Haha, you little thief are so bold. In all these years, you're the first key condensation cultivator to dare insult me. Since you wish to die, I will grant your wish. Lotus-shaped pattern suddenly swirled in his evil eyes. Secret technique, dream creation in the void, Liu Chuanzong growled, and a transparent light instantly burst forth, enveloping Su Poman. Su Poman felt an inexplicable drowsiness well up in him, but a slight tremor in his Nuan palace instantly dissipated the sleepiness. Hey, why didn't you fall asleep? Liu Chuanzong looked at Su Poman in surprise. Su Poman couldn't help but touch his nose and said awkwardly, sorry, I didn't cooperate well just now. How about you try again, you little thief, how dare you tease me? At such close range, I also have a secret method for seizing souls. Liu Chuanzong's face was itched with anger and shock. Go to hell. A misty divine light spanned the void and directly penetrated Su Poman's body. Who awakens first from the dream? I know it all myself. Boom. Su Poman felt a pulling force from another dimension pulling at his soul. If he didn't want to, he could naturally resist this strange force, but he had just gained a new ability and naturally wanted to test the power of the soul devourer. So he let go of his body and mind, and his soul followed the force directly into the other dimension. Before him was a white mist, and now there was a sinister laughter. Ha ha ha, little thief. Once you've entered my dream-eating dimension, forget about getting out. Are you scared now? The voice was disembodied, as if it came from all directions. Su Poman's spirit expression remained unchanged. A slight curl of his lips and a flash of purple light in his eyes instantly pierced through the mist, revealing a grotesquely bloated spirit in the distance. Liu Chuanzong's spirit was vastly different from that of a normal cultivator. It stood over 10 feet tall, its soul energy teeming with a complex web of spirits, seemingly containing a multitude of spirits. Distorted faces nestled within its bulging belly, 7 or 8 arms and thighs exposed behind it. The entire spirit was bloated and eerie, like a patchwork, stitched together corpse. Though it looked extremely disgusting, the sight of that surging soul energy in Su Poman's soul-devouring body inexplicably stirred a longing, as if it had encountered delicious food. Roar! Liu Chuanzong cried out in a strange voice. Though bloated, his enormous form moved with incredible speed. He instantly closed in, his maw opening wide to devour Su Poman. HMPH. You're asking for death? Su Poman snorted coldly, unleashing his soul's aura. A soul-devouring aura instantly filled the air. Horror, terror, trembling, as if facing a superior being. Liu Chuanzong's spirit suddenly screamed and plummeted, its body trembling uncontrollably. An inexplicable, immense pressure pinned it to the ground, unable to move. What the hell are you? Liu Zhangyan's hideous spirit face was adorned with 2 eerie, pale eyes. Lotus-shaped patterns covered its skin. His face was filled with regret. Within this dream-eating realm, there was a peculiar rule: one could only leave after devouring the other. He had been brimming with confidence, but after sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Su Poman's soul, he realized with horror that he had been deceived. He had actually reeled in a prehistoric crocodile. The positions of hunter and prey shifted in an instant. Su Poman moved, his figure instantly vanishing. When he reappeared, he was in front of Liu Chuanzong and delivered a powerful punch. Buzz! With a painful roar, a large chunk of Liu Chuanzong's body was instantly reduced to a cloud of soul energy. Su Poman opened his mouth, and a suction force instantly sucked the vast mass of soul energy into his stomach. Burp! Su Poman burped, and a purple light shimmered from his soul body. In an instant, he refined a vast mass of soul energy, and his aura soared. How is it possible? Such a complex soul energy was refined so thoroughly. Which old monster who turned cultivator are you? Liu Chuanzong howled miserably as he witnessed a scene that horrified him. The dream-eating Dao he cultivated was an unholy art that allowed him to enter dreams and devour souls. It was invincible against beings weaker than himself, and his progress was rapid. However, its only drawback was its inability to completely refine the tangled soul energy within the souls it devoured. This mingled energy, mingled with countless memories and emotions, could easily lead to self-destruction. Even using the dream-eating Dao's secret techniques to suppress it, it would gradually affect the practitioner's personality, drastically altering their disposition. However, just now, he had witnessed Su Poman swallow his soul energy with no apparent effect, no changes occurring within him. This discovery deepened his despair. Su Poman didn't respond. After consuming a ball of soul energy, he felt an intoxicating sense of fulfillment. His soul-devouring body felt the faintest sign of a breakthrough. Without hesitation, he attacked again and again. Boom, boom, boom. Balls of soul energy scattered into the air, accompanied by shrieks of agony. It hurts. It hurts so much, stop hitting me. Stop swallowing me, mercy. Senior, please spare me. Stop swallowing me. I'm willing to be your slave, please, stop swallowing me, you shameless child. If you have the guts, let's go out and fight. Showing off your power here is pointless. Su Poman ignored the screams and pleas for mercy, constantly absorbing the wisps of soul energy that were being knocked down, his spirit growing stronger in the process. Before long, the white space suddenly shattered, and Su Poman's spirit returned to the Nuan palace of his physical body. He opened his eyes, first removing the stored drink from Liu Chuanzong's body, then with a wave of his hand, placing his body into his storage bag. In another flash, Su Poman returned to the training platform in the center of the courtyard. All around him was silent, as if nothing had happened. A pseudo-infant soul is such a great tonic, Su Poman said in surprise after closing his eyes and looking inward for a while. He felt it a little and found that his soul-devouring body had grown a lot after the 2 previous transformations. Not only that, the strength and range of his spiritual consciousness had also increased several times. Other benefits still need to be discovered after his slow understanding. Shangluo Kingdom, Xianhan Dao sect in an ancient and simple hall, a green fire as small as a bean burned on the table. The soul energy around was so rich that it seemed to condense into droplets. Pop, a crisp sound came from the darkness. Hey, a human pill actually fell in Shede. Go and check which blind guy actually destroyed a human pill cultivated by my Xianhan Dao sect. Yes. Chapter 193, Destiny Compass. Outside the Fengaiyu Pavilion, a black-robed monk carrying a coffin suddenly appeared. From several feet away, he bowed and said respectfully, "Greetings to Elder Nai, Senior Brother Jusha. I have an urgent matter to report. May I have a moment to speak? Senior Nai is not an outsider." "Just speak directly," young Master Jusha said calmly. Just say it if I want you to. Stop wasting time." "Yes, Senior Brother." Liu Chuanzong's mark on the heavenly destiny compass has suddenly disappeared for some reason. He may have died unexpectedly, or he may have somehow unlocked the tracking technique. With a clatter, the white pieces fell to the ground. Young Master Jusha stood up and walked out of the Fengaiyu Pavilion, his face as cold as ice. "Give it to me." The black-robed monk, not afraid to delay, handed the heavenly destiny compass to young Master Jusha. Young Master Jusha took the compass and gently tapped it, activating it. The compass needle spun, and a hazy, green mirror appeared above it. Its surface was hazy, devoid of any markings. "Where did the compass mark disappear?" young Master Jusha asked grimly. The black-robed cultivator answered without hesitation. "Ever since Senior Nai's expulsion, Liu Chuanzong left Nanling continent and fled eastward. Several junior brothers from the patrol heavenly guard followed him, collecting corpses along the way. 3 hours ago, the mark on the Xian'an compass suddenly vanished, as if instantly wiped out. They tried many methods, but none worked, and so they passed this news back. This is a troubling matter." Young Master Jusha sighed and waved his hand. "You go down first. I'll consult with Senior Nai, and then I'll handle this matter." "Yes." The black-robed cultivator bowed, turned, and disappeared into the drizzling rain. "Senior Nai, you just heard that Liu Chuanzong is in grave danger. Don't worry, the elixir will be delivered to you as agreed, but this matter is too complex, and I need your guidance," young Master Jusha said slowly, his eyes filled with murderous intent. The white-haired old man pondered for a moment, nodded, and slowly said, "Liu Chuanzong is a cunning person and acts with extreme caution. He would never fight cultivators of his own level, and only bullies lower-level cultivators in the key refining and foundation establishment stages. This time, he actually capsized in Dongsheng Island, which was beyond my expectations. Although there are 4 giant cultivators in the Liang sect, only one can pose a threat to him. Who? Young Master Jusha suddenly became interested. The former Grand Elder of the Qiansu sect, Yang Hong. This man was incredibly talented, having created the sword embryo method of sword forging, essentially establishing a new school of sword forging within the Kangayan continent. The white-haired elder spoke slowly. However, the likelihood of him making a move is extremely low. Although he once reached the nascent soul stage, injuries sustained years ago have caused him to fall to the golden core stage, and his lifespan is limited. Therefore, as long as Liu Chuanzong doesn't fight him to the death, he won't be able to draw out his trump card. A lean camel is bigger than a horse. Besides Elder Nai, this is probably the only person in Nanayu capable of killing Liu Chuanzong. Young Master Jusha narrowed his eyes. This matter is still somewhat suspicious, and Yu Yanghong has no reason to make a move. Liu Chuanzong is no fool. He certainly wouldn't fight to the death with a golden core cultivator like this. The white-haired elder continued his analysis. Young Master Jusha sneered and said, Senior Nai, to be honest, that Liu Chuanzong is a human elixir cultivated by the Xianhan Dao sect. Although I didn't take good care of him, someone has to bear the blame. I think Yang Hong is a good choice. He's almost dead anyway, so he might as well die now to calm the anger of those bigwigs. But is it the Xianhan Dao sect of Shangluo, a 7th-class cultivation country? The white-haired old man looked lost, and his eyes suddenly became somewhat unfriendly when he looked at young Master Jusha. No wonder you have no scruples and use my Nanayu kingdom to cultivate human elixirs. Young Master Jusha, do you think I'm made of clay? If you didn't tell me in advance, the benefits you promised me would be a bit less. Once the Xianhan Dao sect comes, I'm afraid I will be in trouble too. Don't worry, Senior Nai. Ignorance is not a crime. Even if someone from the Dao sect arrives, there's no reason to blame you, young Master Jusha said with a soothing smile. Besides, haven't we just found the perfect scapegoat? As long as we kill him before the Dao sect arrives, there won't be any evidence left. Besides, Liu Chuanzong isn't necessarily dead. He might be hiding in some secluded, hidden place. Haha, you underestimate the Xianhan Dao sect. Young Master Jusha, do you know that everything you do now is playing with fire? If you're not careful, you might end up burning yourself. People from the top cultivation nations aren't so easy to fool. The white-haired old man sneered. You told me this after the incident. Do you really think I wouldn't dare offend your Corpsian sect? If it weren't for that Wunian wood fruit, I would have killed you, the pretentious little beast, long ago. Young Master Jusha nodded without comment, thought carefully for a moment, then bowed and said, Senior Nai, I will take my leave first. Go. Nai Yudao retracted his gaze and placed it on the chessboard in front of him, his eyes full of displeasure. Dongsheng's Hao, Liang sect. The true Yang divine array began to be set up in full swing on Xianyang Peak. Others did not know that the demon monster that made them anxious had fallen. After Su Poman finished his training, he first had a friendly exchange with Kanir and Rizhu, and then went to the secret room and took out Liu Chuanzong's body. After searching the corpse, Su Poman pulled out more than 50 storage bags from it, each of which was a high-level storage bag. When he probed with his spiritual sense, he was immediately stunned. Wow, the storage bags are actually filled with spiritual objects. This one contains spirit stones, talismans, and magical instruments. Oh, there's even a jade slip for the Dream Eater technique in the stored ring. Tisk tisk, this technique is truly sinister. My soul has become a monster. I can't practice it. My progress is fast in the early stages, but even if I'm lucky enough to form an infant, I'm afraid I won't be able to achieve divine transformation later. Hey, is this the old monster's magic weapon? How strange, it's actually made from a mirage pearl. Pah, what a piece of junk, far inferior to my burning silence sword. With so many spiritual objects, the purple source roulette can be converted into a lot of energy points. What ability should I draw next? By the way, this soul devourer ability I drew earlier was way too expensive. Even though it's a complete ability, it cost over 80 million energy points. It feels a bit of a waste. Next ability. It would be best if the next ability I draw is an invincible and powerful body skill, or one that allows for infinite resurrection. At the very least, it'd have to be a special ability like Dimensional Leap. With that kind of ability, I could roam around everywhere. I could destroy a few more demonic sects and start a snowball cycle. That way, I'd have more abilities and could cultivate faster and faster. Wow, the future is bright. Chapter 194 Bully. As the saying goes, wealth and honor never return to one's hometown. Like fine clothes walking at night, my strength is already so strong, and I'm not afraid of others possessing my body. From now on, I must live a carefree and reckless life. If only I could extract the power of the fountain in League of Legends, I could revive with full health after dying, without being sealed or controlled, and without losing equipment. Unfortunately, that's a facility in the game, not for the powerful in the universe, so I definitely won't be able to obtain it. I need time to think carefully about this matter. Is there a similar ability? Su Poman thought excitedly. He activated his supervision and glanced at Liu Chuanzong's corpse. His face moved slightly, and he let out a soft "ah." He moved closer and observed it carefully. He saw a golden pill in Liu Chuanzong's danshan. 7 vertical and 8 horizontal cracks appeared on the pill, and traces of nascent soul ki diffused from the cracks. However, due to the disappearance of his soul, the pill had become somewhat dim. Is this the golden elixir of the false infant stage? It looks like this fellow was on the verge of successfully forming an infant. Unfortunately, he's offended by me. Bad luck, Su Poman said with a sneer. By the way, this cultivator's golden elixir should also contain energy points, right? Su Poman's face flickered with interest. He patted his storage bag and pulled out a short, seemingly razor-sharp blade. With a powerful strike, he instantly tore a large hole through Liu Chuanzong's abdomen. SHH, that's a bit disgusting, but to accumulate more energy points, I can't care less. Su Poman controlled the transparent palm formed by the bioforce field and inserted it into his danshan. After a moment of searching, he finally pulled out the golden elixir. Ding, energy detected. Convert to energy points, converted. You've earned 68,000 energy points. The system's pleasant notification cheered Su Poman up. Then, a thought struck him, and with a pained expression, he said, I forgot to take the golden core from that blood goose sect golden core cultivator. What a waste. He then cast a fireball spell to incinerate the corpse, then removed the spiritual objects from over 50 storage bags one by one. Except for the useful items, he converted all those containing energy points. Spirit stones, exotic flowers and herbs, and medicinal ingredients were all converted into energy points. It wasn't until late at night that Su Poman finally completed converting the last bag's worth of spiritual objects. By then, the number on the purple source roulette had returned to over 20 million. The feeling of having energy points filled him with an irresistible urge to spend them all on the lottery. Hold on for now. Don't be a gambler. With just over 20 million, I'm unlikely to draw any special abilities. Save up for a while, and try again when I reach 100 million, Su Poman calmed himself, changed his clothes, and walked into the courtyard. It was late at night. The 2 little girls had fallen asleep, and Quonky and the others were resting in their rooms in the side hall. The surroundings were extremely quiet. The moonlight was like a crescent. Even at this time of year, Cheyenne Peak was filled with a warm and pleasant atmosphere due to the spiritual energy. Su Poman slowly walked to the edge of the stone pond in the courtyard and sat on a stone bench. Where the clear stream hit the rocks, small splashes of water appeared, like pearls in the moonlight. A plump carp had already developed a sense of spirituality, waving its long barbels as it swam to the surface, opening and closing its mouth continuously towards the moon. Seeing this scene, Su Poman suddenly recalled the moment he had just arrived, when he'd witnessed a demonic turtle devouring moonlight at sea. He was suddenly lost in memories, his mind replaying everything that had happened since his time traveling. The memories of Blue Star seemed increasingly distant, unreal. He shook his head and resumed his childhood on Blue Star, recalling elementary school, middle school, and high school. The night was as cool as water, and mottled shadows of trees swayed back and forth across the ground. Su Poman sat quietly on a stone bench for a long time. Finally, he suddenly stood up, gazing at the moon, seemingly close in the sky. He said firmly, whether it's Zhuangzhou dreaming of a butterfly, or butterfly dreaming of Zhuangzhou, I must return to Blue Star. He returned to his room, about to undress for sleep, when a thunderbolt exploded in the sky. Boom! A tremendous roar resounded through the heavens, drawing countless cultivators from the Liang sect. Chizayu of the Liang sect, come out and see me. Chizayu, come out and see me, come out and see me. A voice imbued with spiritual energy reverberated relentlessly for hundreds of miles, its content shocking. Who was Chizayu? The Liang sect's leader, a master in the Jindan stage. A foremost expert in the Nanayu Kingdom's immortal cultivation world. Now, someone dared to shout at the leader so loudly outside the mountain gates. It was a complete disregard for the Liang sect, a blatant slap in the face. He had come with ill intentions. This was the thought that suddenly crossed many people's minds. Chizayu had been teaching Mu Chen how to practice magic in a secret room in the back mountains. Upon hearing the voice echoing from the sky, his expression instantly darkened. Master, who exactly is this person? How dare they be so disrespectful on Liang sect grounds? Mu Chen asked in confusion. Chizayu took a deep breath and shook his head slightly. The people coming are all Jindan stage cultivators. I'll go take a look. You wait here, don't leave. 3 beams of light shot out from the main hall and the forbidden area in the back mountain, respectively. Like 3 shooting stars in the night sky, they formed a shape and quickly rushed to the mountain gate. As the 3 landed, the beams of light instantly vanished, revealing their figures. In the front was Chizayu, dressed in purple robes and red eyebrows. Behind him was the paunchy, fat-faced old man Kangxi's Henren, and Wu Bailing, the Dragon Yang sword, carrying a red sword case. Who are you? How dare you act so recklessly in my Liang sect? Zhenren Kangxi was quite blunt. Although the newcomers were of high cultivation, they were at their own doorstep, and he couldn't show any weakness. In the night sky, the clouds dissipated, revealing 5 figures in black robes, carrying black coffins on their backs. The leader was a pale, beardless young man. Under the bright moonlight, his skin seemed to have patches of pale blue beneath it, like a dead body. He smiled faintly and said contemptuously, "It seems you still don't know your place." As he spoke, the aura of the false infant realm suddenly erupted. Boom. Although Chizayu was the sect leader, he was busy with sect affairs and had no time to practice, so he was only at the early stage of the golden core stage. Under the pressure of this aura, his face turned pale and he couldn't help but step back several steps, finally bending over. Zhenren Kangxi and Wu Bailing, although at the middle stage of the golden core stage, also felt the unprecedented pressure, their faces extremely grim. Ahem, our Liang sect is a subordinate sect of the Hoary True sect. What are your origins? How dare you come here to show off your power? Wu Bailing, a sword cultivator, had no tolerance for any injustice. His sharp eyes fixed on the young leader, as if he was about to draw his sword and strike at any disagreement. Hoary True sect? Haha, the eyebrowless young man seemed to have heard a huge joke, and said with disdain, although the Ziyang sect was destroyed decades ago, you are just a second-class sect in a cultivation country. You also want to establish a relationship with a 7th-class sect by relying on some inheritance. Wu Bailing felt that his sect was humiliated, and he was furious. He slapped the sword box and was about to take action. Chapter 195 Great Achievement. Elder Wu, wait, Chizayu's telepathic voice suddenly echoed, causing the furious Wu Bailing to pause. He turned and asked, Chi, what else? Is this the patrolman of the Immortal Cultivation Alliance? Chizayu raised his head with difficulty and asked respectfully. Master Jusha's lips curled slightly, and he restrained his aura. He chuckled and said, it seems there are still people who understand the current situation. A man wearing a ghost mask behind him said loudly, you guessed it right. We are the patrolmen of the Immortal Cultivation Alliance, specifically responsible for the matter of the demonic demon Liu Chuanzhuang. Who is the sect Master Chizayu? Come forward and listen to the orders of Master Jusha. When Wu Bailing heard that it was someone from the Immortal Cultivation Alliance, he immediately gave up the idea of teaching him a lesson and stepped back to stand shoulder to shoulder with Master Kangxi. Chizayu's face darkened. He stepped forward, bowed, and said, I am Chizayu, sect master of the Liang sect. Greetings to the patrol guards. I wonder what advice you have for visiting me so late at night? Could it be that Liu Chuanzhuang has already reached the territory of our Eastern Holy Continent? That evil cultivator has surrendered in Eastern Holy Continent, young Master Jusha said with a faint smile. Overjoyed, Chizayu smiled and bowed. That's truly wonderful news, thanks to the patrol guards. Haha, that evil cultivator wasn't killed by us patrol guards, but by members of your Liang sect, young Master Jusha interrupted with a smile. What? That evil cultivator reached the false infant stage. Master Jusha, don't be ridiculous. At this moment, many elders and disciples from the sect, having heard the commotion, rushed to the mountain gate, witnessing this scene. Who are those people? Why are they carrying coffins? It's so strange. Could they be evil cultivators from somewhere? Hush, keep your voices down. Those people exude a powerful aura. They must be giant stage cultivators. Now that they've arrived, something big is bound to happen. They've broken into Liang sect's mountain gate so late at night, and the two Supremas didn't even try to drive them away. It seems they're truly powerful. They look so arrogant. Look, Master Wu Yang from Wanjianfang has arrived. A beam of light flew out of Wanjianfang and quietly landed at the mountain gate. Venerable Wu Yang, old ghost Wu Yang, you've arrived. Wu Bailing and Kangxi's Henrin looked a little uneasy. What's going on? Sect Master Qi, who are they? Yang Hong frowned, sensing something was amiss in the atmosphere. Master Yang, you've arrived just in time. Just now, this Sky Patrol guard claimed that you killed the evil cultivator Liu Chuanzong, who had fled to the kingdom of Nanayu. Is this true? Qi Zaiyu asked suspiciously. I've been cultivating in Wanjianfang and have never seen any Liu Chuanzong. I'm afraid you've made a mistake. Yang Hong shook his head and looked up at Master Jusha with a hint of surprise. The Corpse Yin sect, haha, the great elder of the Thousand Casting sect is truly knowledgeable. Master Jusha smiled faintly. Yang Hong's heart skipped a beat at the sudden revelation of his identity. Combined with Master Kangxi's hesitant expression, he felt as if something untoward was about to happen. I didn't expect the Sky Patrol guard would even bother investigating my background. What a privilege. Yang Hong smiled faintly. Young Master Jusha landed leisurely, smiling broadly. Fellow Taoist Wu Yang is a role model for our generation. You killed the evil cultivator for us, the Sky Patrol guards, and prevented countless cultivators from falling victim to the evil hands again. This is a great contribution. I have already reported it to the Alliance, and the big shots in the Alliance decided to meet you. Yang Hong pondered for a moment, shook his head and said, Young Master, you must have made a mistake. I have never seen that Liu Chuanzong, let alone killed him. Moreover, my injuries have not healed, and I do not have the strength to kill an evil cultivator in the false infant stage. Whether it is true or not, I will make the final decision. Fellow Taoist Wu Yang, please come with us. Don't let that big shot wait too long. Young Master Jusha seemed to have lost his patience, and said with a slightly cold expression, if it were someone else, he would have happily gone to claim the credit long ago. But this old guy in front of him was still making excuses. He is really a piece of stinky and hard stone. This matter is not appropriate. It is not my credit. I dare not claim it. Young Master, just go back to where you came from. Yang Hong felt a chill in his heart, as if a whirlpool was trying to drag him into it. His years of experience in cultivation reminded him that this matter was very suspicious. He should avoid it if he can and avoid it as far as he can. Upon hearing this, Master Kangxi showed an expression as if he was looking at a fool. He advised anxiously, Old Ghost Wu Yang, it would have been fine if you concealed your background and cultivation level before, but now that you have encountered such a good thing, why are you backing out? He is a big shot on the Immortal Cultivation Alliance, a great opportunity. Go with this Master Jusha quickly. With such a great contribution, the Immortal Cultivation Alliance will definitely reward you with some spirit stones or elixirs. Master Kangxi, that evil cultivator was not killed by this old man. If you want to go, why don't you go? How about the credit for killing that evil cultivator be counted on you? Yang Hong glanced at everyone in the Corpse Yin sect with a half-smile. This infuriated Kangxi, who sputtered, I'll go, Old Ghost Wu Yang, don't regret it, Master Jusha, since Old Ghost Wu Yang is so ungrateful, why don't I take the credit for him? It'll also give me a chance to meet the Alliance's greats. What do you think? Master Kangxi asked, a smile on his face. What kind of rubbish are you? You're only at the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. The Cheyenne Dao sect's envoy would be a fool to believe you could kill Liu Chuanzong. Master Jusha shook his head and coldly pressed to Yang Hong. That great man specifically asked you to go. Can you refuse? What if I insist on not going? Yang Hong let out a long sigh, slowly turning around, his eyes gleaming. That's not up to you. If fellow Taoist Wu Yang continues to be stubborn, we won't be polite. I know you were once a nascent soul powerhouse and must have some tricks up your sleeve, but I've brought a celestial corpse with me this time. Once it's out, it'll devour the spiritual blood. By then, I'm afraid this Liang sect will be gone, young Master Jusha said with a smile. Hiss, nascent soul stage? Qi Zaiu's eyes widened, and he looked at Yang Hong carefully. this. Zhenren Kangxi's eyes were a little dazed, but now he realized that claiming the credit might not be as simple as he thought. Wu Bailing also looked at Yang Hong with a complicated expression. I didn't expect that fellow Taoist Du Yang was actually a great power in the nascent soul stage. It's incredible, the heavenly corpse of the Corpsian sect? What a great trick, Yang Hong said with a gloomy face. It seems that this old man must go with you this time. However, before I leave, please give me some time to make arrangements. Master Jusha heard the hidden meaning in his words and nodded. I'll give you 1 stick of incense. Okay, 1 stick of incense should be enough. Chapter 196 Fierce Battle. Yang Hong nodded and was about to flee towards Xianyang Peak when he saw a figure emerge from the crowd on the mountainside. Master, Su Poman had been standing in the crowd, having witnessed everything that had just happened. He knew he had personally killed the demonic demon Liu Chuanzong, but the patrolling guards at the mountain gate claimed it wasn't Yang Hong's doing. There must be some hidden conspiracy. Disciple, Yang Hong flashed before Su Poman and, with a wave of his hand, cast a simple soundproofing barrier. He sighed, then said with a touch of nostalgia, it's very likely I won't return from this trip. You must practice diligently and delve deeply into the art of swordsmithing. I won't leave you any extraneous items, as they'll only draw your attention. On the top floor of the Wanjian Fang, you can use the black sword token to unlock the barrier. There are some cultivation resources stored there, which should be enough for you to reach the late foundation establishment stage. The rest is up to you, Master. I'll go with you, Su Poman said seriously. Yang Hong shook his head, smiled faintly, and reached out to touch Su Poman's head. He then placed his hand on his shoulder and patted him firmly. Disciple, you look so much like the little Lucy I took in when I was in the Kaiansu sect. Alice, all these years have passed, and I still haven't completely let go. You should be more low-key in the future. If Chizayu asks you for the sword forging inheritance, don't hesitate, give it to him. My inheritance isn't something that mere mediocre people can learn. If you need anything, you can seek the help of Elder Jia. He was personally taught by me, and for your sake, I think he'll look after you. Yang Hong waved his hand again, shattering the soundproof barrier. He then transformed into a streak of light and flew to the mountain gate. His spiritual pressure gradually increased, rising from the early Jinden stage to the late Jinden stage, instantly drawing everyone's attention. Corpse Yin Sect Brat, let's go. Young Master Jusha smiled faintly, appearing to possess a masterful plan. He felt his plan would indeed save him a great deal of trouble. First, it avoided a confrontation with the Liang sect, a confrontation with their formidable strength. Second, it could lure Yang Hong into their prearranged formation, allowing them to jointly eliminate him, significantly reducing casualties. Third, it eliminated the need to employ a celestial corpse. Although he had brought a celestial corpse comparable to a nascent soul cultivator on this expedition, it wasn't his own natal corpse, requiring the use of the corpse control J-Disc. The number of times it could be summoned was limited, requiring it to be used only as a trump card. He was extremely pleased with the outcome, glancing at the Liang sect members and then, more specifically, at Su Poman in the crowd, his eyes filled with mockery. Let's go. 6 beams of light streaked through the air. Su Poman, observing this, clenched his fists, his eyes calm. He turned and disappeared into the crowd. They're gone. Yang Guangsheng actually followed them. Will Master Ouyang come back? I wonder who they are, but they seem to have powerful connections. Gone. Back to sleep. Under the vast night, 6 beams of light flew 100 miles beyond the Liang sect, finally landing in a small valley. Is this the place? Yang Hong asked casually, seemingly asking others, but also himself. You're a clever man indeed. This valley is beautiful, with mountains, water, and ponds. It's a perfect place for fellow Taoist Du Yang to be buried, young Master Jusha said bluntly. At this moment, the true intentions were revealed. I'm not someone who can be bullied. Haha, come on, show me the methods of your Corpse Yin sect. Yang Hong roared to the sky, and a layer of green light appeared around him. He flipped his hand, and 2 silver beads appeared between his index, middle, and ring fingers. Swish. Swish, the 2 sounds of light breaking through the air faded away. This is the formation breaking pearl. Old man, so you've been prepared. Young Master Jusha's face twisted as he shouted, 4 junior brothers, attack immediately. This formation won't be of much use anytime soon. Yes, senior brother, the 4 responded in unison, then lightly leaped onto the coffin. The coffin behind them suddenly spun, then abruptly stopped, encircling a Yang Hong in the center, forming a closed circle. A sword chant suddenly resounded through the heavens and earth. A massive, broken sword, emitting a green glow, shot out from Wu Yang Hong's mouth, carrying a tremendous wind pressure as it slashed towards the nearest corpse yin sect disciple. Aside from young Master Joshua, this person had the lowest cultivation level, at the middle giant stage, making him undoubtedly the best opportunity to break through. The giant sword swept across the air, creating a massive shadow of sword light. The pervasive sword energy stunned the corpse yin sect disciple for a moment. The next moment, the giant sword was upon him. Lift the coffin and defend. The mid-stage giant and disciple reacted quickly. Though he felt a little guilty, he was extremely confident in his corpse refining. The coffin lids collided with the vast light and shadow created by the giant sword. Crack! The coffin lids instantly shattered, but the giant sword continued its momentum, slashing at the object within. Roar! A dark corpse aura permeated the air. The broken arms, covered in talismans, crossed, barely withstood the blow, but the body was slashed back repeatedly by the immense force. With a shrill roar, the coffin burst open, revealing the hideous corpse within. Its eyes glowed red, its fangs bared, its skin a purplish blue color, and its body covered in talismans, revealing dense, long, black, and bristly hair beneath. It struggled to resist the giant sword's power, a crisscross pattern of cuts appearing on its body, and its corpse aura rapidly evaporated under the sword's light. Seeing this, the others quickly deployed their tactics, attacking Yang Hong from behind. Roar! 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 A series of screaming roars echoed from the coffin, and in an instant, the lid dropped, revealing 3 zombies of varying appearances. One was bald and pot-bellied, its skin a slate blue. Its hairless exterior was covered in dense, scaly skin, resembling a snake's body. From its enormous mouth, it belched a billowing cloud of poisonous green smoke. A gentle wave of its arm unleashed a thunderous explosion. Another, small and incredibly fast, revealed a sinister child with towering pigtails. Its arms sprouted incredibly long claws, and in a flash, it approached Yang Hong and swung them down. The last, with red hair and a green face, its body stiff as iron, its nails like bamboo tips, let out a thunderous roar as it leaped towards Yang Hong. For a moment, this 3-pronged attack put Yang Hong under immense pressure. Young Master Joshua stood by, watching intently, searching for a flaw. The moment he got the chance, he would strike with lightning speed, delivering a fatal blow. A heavenly treasure's umbrella hovered above Yang Hong, its surface adorned with hundreds of defensive magical instruments. Once activated, it unleashed layers of shields, firmly blocking the storm of attacks. He controlled his greatsword to strike the mid-stage giant and cultivator while continuously casting spells to repel the 3 advancing zombies. Though seemingly at ease, facing 3 late-stage giant and cultivators, 1 mid-stage giant and cultivator, and a nearby false infant cultivator, he felt a mountain of pressure. But at this critical juncture, he couldn't afford to show weakness, so he expended a tremendous amount of spiritual energy. Alice, am I really going to die today in this remote, deserted valley? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197. The corpse comes out of the coffin. Just as Yang Hong was in despair, a shadowy figure wearing a bronze mask suddenly appeared from the clouds high above. 2 red rays of light flashed from his eyes, as if the gaze of a god or demon was descending upon the mortal world. Hissing, hiss. Even though the newcomer had a high level of cultivation, as an elite disciple of the corpse yin sect, he was confident that he had some means of preserving his life. Furthermore, they had the heavenly corpse following them, so they were not afraid of the old monster in the nascent soul stage bullying them. Yang Hong was stunned. He swept his consciousness upwards and felt that the figure was somewhat familiar. However, this was a good opportunity to counterattack. He was experienced in fighting, so he would not let this opportunity go. He took out a bright yellow bronze bell and clapped it with one hand, making a series of dong-dong sounds. A circular transparent sound wave attacked the 3 people. To be able to destroy 3 late giant and corpses with a single blow, the newcomer's strength must have reached the nascent soul stage. Who is this person? Why dare to go against the corpse yin sect? Let's test his background first. If it doesn't work, let them cover the rear. I'll leave. Young Master Jusha's expression shifted, and he hurriedly said, "The incoming man is quite powerful. Junior brothers, hold on for a while I summon the heavenly corpse." All right, the three men, their faces etched with murderous intent, blood smearing the corners of their mouths, each summoning defensive measures and working together to block the incoming transparent sound waves. Though heavily wounded, they possessed numerous valuable treasures. They flung out numerous defensive talismans, easily repelling a Yang Hong's assault. The mid-stage giant and cultivator, without support, was cornered by the giant sword and faced danger. He had no choice but to utilize a more precious protective talisman, finally escaping danger. Young Master Jusha glanced up at the blurry figure high in the sky, feeling somewhat apprehensive. He formed a hand seal, and a brilliant silver light suddenly shone from his body. A delicate, translucent silver armor emerged from his body. A roaring beast adorned each shoulder, and a mystical round mirror was embedded in his chest. The silver Chen armor. I never thought Master would bestow this treasure upon senior brother. He truly cherishes him. With this armor protecting us, that man won't be able to launch a sneak attack again. And if he summons the celestial corpse, even a late-stage nascent soul cultivator will be forced to retreat. It would be best if the celestial corpse kills him. Only then will I be able to appease my hatred. That's right. After we capture him, we'll refine his body into our own innatal corpses. This loss is truly enormous. The three noticed the scene behind them and whispered to each other, their voices filled with undisguised murderous intent. Master Jusha then drew a bloody blade and fiercely stabbed his wrist, sending a torrent of blood gushing out. He chanted something, formed hand seals, and, using blood as ink, drew a sinister array pattern on the coffin behind him. Disciple Jusha, we have encountered a formidable foe. I beg our ancestor, the heavenly corpse, to swiftly emerge from the coffin and annihilate the enemy. As the short incantation concluded, the blood-stained formation suddenly glowed red, gradually fading into the coffin's lid. Su Poman, perched atop a cloud, watched the scene unfold below with fascination. He employed the ancient breath-hardening technique to suppress his entire aura, donning a bronze mask to conceal his features. Interesting. Is this some kind of summoning ritual? Haha, if this young master hadn't wanted to see what tricks you could pull off, you would have died 100 times over. Bang! 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 A magical heartbeat suddenly emanated from the coffin, and everyone present, save Su Poman, clutched their hands to their chests. This heavenly corpse is truly powerful. It possesses a heartbeat like a living being. My chest aches, as if its rhythm has been forcibly altered. Roar a roar, like the low growl of a tiger or leopard, echoed from the coffin. Then, a massive black cloud gathered in the sky, obscuring the moonlight. An overwhelming stench of corpses filled the air, like the smell of a dead rat magnified dozens of times, making one gag. Roar, another roar echoed, and a strange phenomenon reappeared between heaven and earth. Like a river backflowing, black corpse energy emanated from the coffin, pouring down from mid-air, floating and sinking like dry ice, transforming the ground into a sea of corpse energy. Su Poman frowned, a red light flickering in his eyes. Seeing the effects of the corpse energy, he finally couldn't stand it anymore. This damn thing even has magical damage. It stinks. I can't stand it. I want to die. The red light in his eyes gathered and swept across in an instant. Brother, that person is about to launch another sneak attack. One of the corpse yin sect disciples noticed the red light in the sky and quickly warned through telepathy. Young Master Jusha sneered, about to say something, but the next moment, like a duck being strangled, he stammered, speechless, stunned. The red light descended, sweeping back and forth. The celestial corpse barely had time to let out a tragic howl before being chopped into a pile of minced meat. The scorching heat reduced much of the flesh to a charred state. Smoke curled and rose slowly. Young Master Jusha felt the scene unfolding before him like a fantasy. He muttered absent-mindedly, "This is impossible." Master Celestial Corpse possesses the strength of a late nascent soul. Not only can he teleport, he also possesses numerous corpse path abilities, including the extreme yin corpse fire. How could he have died so easily? The tone of the last two words, dead, suddenly rose, and he suddenly realized, danger. The other four also reacted, glancing at each other, each sensing the other's current thoughts. Run! The five of them flipped their hands and pulled out identical gray talismans. Embedded on the surface were several tiny, bean-sized southern sea voidstones, emanating a special force. This was the life-saving talisman bestowed upon several of their elite disciples by the Corpse Yin sect, a small teleportation talisman. Chi. They were activating the talismans with all their might, but at that moment, two red beams, like the gaze of death, swept past them at breakneck speed. The protective treasures, capable of withstanding the full force of a nascent soul stage attack, shattered one after another, seemingly unable to stop even a single breath. Young Master Jushi's expression was vacant, his consciousness gradually fading. He could faintly hear his junior fellow's screams, and then his consciousness sank into endless darkness. Chapter 198 Interrogation. Yang Hong's face twitched uncontrollably, a sense of inexplicable horror building within him. This kind of murderous power, with a single glance, is truly unheard of. Fortunately, that senior doesn't seem to harbor any ill will towards me. Su Poman, with his bio-force field, formed a giant hand and snatched up the storage bags of the 5 people present, along with the unactivated small teleportation talisman that had fallen to the ground. Also, a disciple of the Corpse Yin sect, shredded into a human stick, was howling in agony. I wonder which senior did this? I'm Yang Hong. Thank you so much. Before he could finish the word thank you, Yang Hong saw holes ripped open in the abdomens of several of the corpses present, their golden cores vanishing without a trace. Hiss, Yang Hong was startled. This killing and core dissecting technique is so skillful, it doesn't seem like the work of an upright sect. I'd better keep a low profile and avoid drawing attention. Boom. 4 fireballs descended, and the valley erupted in flames. High in the sky, Su Poman's figure was hidden in thick clouds. He didn't want to reveal his strength to Yang Hong, so he simply carried the Corpse Yin sect disciple away. Yang Hong exhaled, looking up. Are they finally leaving? We can't stay here for long. I'd better leave quickly to avoid trouble. We can't return to the Liang sect for now. Although the Corpse Yin sect disciple is a sky patrol guard, their purpose in coming to Nanai is definitely not simple. If the cultivators from the sect behind them come looking for us, many people will be implicated. He sighed softly, leaped up, and vanished into the vast night sky in a streak of cyan light. Corpse Key lingered in the valley, and over time, it became an excellent place for corpse cultivation, attracting many cultivators who practiced corpse refining. Su Poman, carrying the unconscious Corpse Yin sect disciple, flew north until they reached a desolate, barren land. The occasional desolate howl of wolves echoed through the wilderness. Crash! A giant ball of water smashed into the Corpse Yin sect disciple's head. The icy shock awoke him, and upon regaining consciousness, the excruciating pain from his shattered limbs and the massive blood loss left him pale as ice. Who the hell are you? Let me go. Even with your profound cultivation, the Corpse Yin sect is not one you can afford to offend. Su Poman snorted coldly. You're still stubborn. It seems you're truly fearless. With that, Su Poman's bio-force field spread out, transforming into invisible tentacles that pinched the Corpse Yin sect disciple's wounds. SHH, it hurts. Kill me. Oh, you're still a tough guy. I guess I shouldn't have left you alone. Then I'll grant your wish and let you die in endless agony. The tentacle's force grew stronger, and at the same time, another tentacle struck at his danchin, instantly ripping a bloody hole. It hurts. Don't destroy my danchin. I'll tell you everything. Su Poman smiled faintly, saying, wouldn't it have been better earlier? I ask, you answer. What's your name? Kui Xianpeng, where are you from? Su Poman pressed on. A hint of pride crossed Kui Xianpeng's pale, bloodless face, and he spoke aloud. Wanku Kingdom, Shi Insect, Wanku Kingdom? What level of cultivation nation is that? Su Poman's face lit up with curiosity. 5th level cultivation nation. The supreme elder of my Shi Yin sect has reached the fusion stage. Kui Xianpeng's face grew even more proud, as if he were the one to achieve fusion stage cultivation, a point of pride he felt himself proud of. Oh, you'd better let me go, or the Corpse Yin sect. Shut up, Su Poman interrupted ruthlessly, changing the subject and continuing. Why did you join forces to kill Lu Yang Hong from the Liang sect? Because my senior brother wanted to use him as a scapegoat? Kui Xianpeng answered honestly. Su Poman's face was filled with confusion. Scapegoat? What crime? Killing Liu Chuanzong. Ahem, Kui Xianpeng said, suddenly choking on blood. Isn't killing a demonic demon a great achievement? How can it be a sin? Su Poman was even more confused. Kui Xianpeng bared his bloody teeth. Liu Chuanzong is a human pill cultivated by the 7th-rank Xianhun Dao sect. Anyone who dares to kill him will naturally incur the wrath of the Xianhun Dao sect. Human pill. Hearing this term, Su Poman had a vague idea in mind. The human pill is the same as the ordinary soul-enriching pill. It is a special pill unique to the Xianhun Taoist sect. Their cultivation method is mainly based on the soul Dao. They improve the strength of their soul through enlightenment, cultivation, soul hunting, etc., and the soul feeds back to the primordial spirit. When the soul is strong, the primordial spirit will naturally be strong. Therefore, all disciples of the Xianhun Taoist sect have a 50% to 60% chance of successfully becoming a god. Therefore, there are many masters in the sect after becoming a god. The cultivation of the primordial spirit is also the main focus. They will spread some flood evil techniques, and the progress is very fast, but most of these techniques have a backup plan. Once someone practices them, they will be marked with a human pill mark. After the human pill is mature, the Xianhun Taoist sect will send people out to harvest it and devour these human pills to improve their cultivation, Kui Xianpeng explained slowly. Su Poman was shocked and smacked his lips, saying bitterly, "Isn't this just cannibalism? Haha, I didn't expect that your cultivation is so high, but your mentality is still like a rookie who has just entered the world of immortal cultivation." In the world of immortal cultivation, such things are countless. Many exercises in the black market cannot be practiced casually. For example, the transformation into Dragon Sutra can cultivate a human body into the body of a dragon, but something ominous will happen at a moment of success, and the dragon's essence and blood will disappear out of thin air. Kui Xianpeng showed a sneer on his face, and then thought of his current situation. His face became gloomy. After this explanation, all the doubts in Su Poman's mind disappeared. So taking the credit was just a pretext, in order to trick Yang Hong out to surround and kill him, and then put the blame of Liu Chuanzong's death on him. Yes, after all, Yang Hong was a cultivator in the nascent soul stage, and your Liang sect also has some background. My senior brother didn't want to waste the opportunity of the heavenly corpse coming out of the coffin, so he wanted to trick him out and use the formation to kill him. Unexpectedly, he ended up in this situation. Alice, when Kui Xianpeng said this, his expression became even gloomier. I have another question. Isn't it the duty of you Sky Patrol guards to hunt down demons and monsters? Haha, the Heavenly Soul sect is a 7th-class sect. Not only do they have great hermits in the Tribulation Crossing stage, but there are also many masters in the Void Cave stage. They all hold high positions in the Immortal Cultivation Alliance, so as long as they don't go too far, the other elders will turn a blind eye. Moreover, the cultivation of human pills is generally carried out in low-level cultivation countries. In this way, no one is willing to offend the powerful cultivators in the Tribulation Crossing stage. Although we, the Sky Patrol guards, have accepted the task of hunting down Liu Chuanzong, we were reminded before we set off that not only can we not kill Liu Chuanzong, but we must also protect him well to prevent any blind nascent soul stage cultivators from beheading him. Therefore, every time we arrive at a place, we will go to the Guardian and make arrangements in advance. Until the Heavenly Soul sect harvests the human pills, our mission will be completed effortlessly. Moreover, we can also harvest a lot of soulless corpses along the way. Chapter 199, Key Refining completed. This rotten world of immortal cultivation is truly filthy and filthy. No wonder, any organization that exists for a long time will inevitably breed its share of infestations. Su Poman sighed, glancing at the vast expanse beneath the night sky. With a flicker of his mind, Kui Xianpeng's neck snapped by the tentacles formed by the bioforce field. His expression was filled with astonishment, as if he hadn't expected such swift and ruthless action. He had become increasingly adept at extracting the golden elixir, unleashing a fireball, and incinerating the corpse, obliterating all traces of the evidence. He took inventory of his gains and discovered a wealth of valuables in the individual stored rings. After converting all of them, he had obtained over 20 million energy points. The remainder consisted of jade slips for corpse refining techniques, techniques for the way of corpse, and other items that couldn't be converted into energy points. Finally, there were 3,900 soulless bodies. Tisk, what should I do with these bodies? I didn't expect this group of people to be so cruel and collect so many corpses. Are they planning to sell them through the channels of the Corpse Yin sect? Su Poman couldn't figure out how to dispose of these corpses for a while. Maybe they would be useful in the future, so he put them all into the same storage ring and put it in his pocket. Looking at the row of high-level storage bags hanging in the lining of his clothes, Su Poman couldn't help but be amazed. Now I have too many things looted, and it is not convenient to sell them. The storage bags in the lining are almost full. I am simply a 9-bag elder of the beggar gang. Moreover, this storage bag cannot be used as a nesting doll. It would be great if I could draw the ability of a portable dimensional space or a small world in my body in the future. I can throw these storage bags directly in it. I will have to draw the ability of 72 transformations or mystic in the future, so that I can use a vest to deal with these items of unknown origin. Of course, saving my life must be the first priority. Then he converted 5 golden pills into energy points and obtained more than 300,000 energy points. Looking at the energy points of the purple source roulette that were close to 50 million, Su Poman's heart itched, and he was eager to try. With more than 50 million energy points, I don't know if I can draw a powerful life-saving ability. Forget it, a man must hold back and can't be satisfied for a moment. Let's draw when it reaches 100 million. It's more reliable that way. Several wolves, seemingly drawn by the scent of blood, came near. Their feral eyes reflected a cold green light, as if they had been hungry for a long time. Su Poman glanced around, not taking the wolf seriously. He spread his arms, his tall figure instantly rising. A whoosh. The air exploded, the ground shattered, and a huge circular crater was left in its place. The deafening sound frightened the wolves, who scattered with their tails between their legs. Only the bravest leader remained, howling at the sky. Returning to the courtyard, Su Poman spotted a fiery red sound transmission node hovering outside the formation. With a gentle wave of his hand, the formation activated, and the sound transmission node fell into his hands. Disciple, your master was rescued by a passing senior. All is well now. Rest assured, cultivate in the Liang sect once this crisis is over. I will return to the sect. Yang Hong's aged voice entered Su Poman's mind. He smiled slightly, then twisted the node, and it shattered into ash. Haha, I hope those idiot Heavenly Soul Dao sect and Corpse Yin sect members don't bother me. If they do, I'll kill them without hesitation and transform all of these evil cultivators into energy points. Su Poman stood before the door, gazing at the rising sun, his eyes gleaming with an unknown light. Returning to the courtyard, he sat cross-legged on the training platform and began practicing the scorching sun technique. While his current progress was not slow, it was still far inferior compared to the enemies he had recently encountered. Many of the newly acquired spells in his storage bag were unavailable for practice. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth converged once again, and the scorching sun technique began to circulate rapidly. The pale golden true fire of the sun, carrying a vast amount of spiritual energy, washed over his body, rapidly refining the spiritual energy in his meridians. Simultaneously, Kongqi and the others practicing in the side hall also reaped significant benefits. Kabir and Ruzhu, bored, had taken to practicing martial arts in an open area of the courtyard. Ruzhu's alluring figure caught Su Poman's attention, evoking a scene he'd seen while browsing short videos. Isn't this the legendary gangster Excitement Fist? Haha, this little girl's figure is getting more and more outrageous. And Kabir, those long legs are truly enticing. I reckon I'll be able to keep her company for at least 100 years. Oh, no, I can't let my imagination wander. Let's practice first. I'll take good care of them tonight. Closing his eyes, the spiritual energy in his meridians rapidly refined. Since devouring Liu Chuanzong's spirit, Su Poman's spirit had grown dozens of times stronger. Correspondingly, not only had his range of awareness expanded significantly, his spellcasting skills become more proficient, and even his swordsmanship had achieved significant breakthroughs. Furthermore, thanks to this spiritual enhancement, his practice of the flaming sun technique had become even faster, and his rate of refining spiritual energy had increased significantly. Combined with the bonus his brown superhuman physique provides for his cultivation speed in the scorching sun art, Su Poman feels his current cultivation speed rivals that of the legendary cultivators possessing heavenly spiritual roots. A single spiritual root. Heavenly spiritual roots possess unique advantages, allowing for incredibly rapid cultivation speeds, dozens of times faster than those with dual spiritual roots, and thousands of times faster than those with quadruple spiritual roots, making it easier to overcome bottlenecks in cultivation. Although Su Poman possesses pseudo-chaos spiritual roots, he is currently in the key refining stage. Normally, his cultivation speed should be comparable to that of those with ineffective spiritual roots, However, due to the perfect complement of his superhuman physique to the scorching sun art, coupled with his powerful spirit, he has achieved this incredible speed. His cultivation is like rocket ship, yielding significant improvements in just a few days. Cultivation seems like timelessness, and in the blink of an eye, 3 months have passed. It is now early summer, and the sun is even more blazing than ever. Disciples of the Liang sect have a mixed love-hate relationship with the scorching summer heat. They love it because it allows them to absorb even more powerful fire-attributed spiritual energy, greatly enhancing their combat effectiveness. They also hate it because the June sun's true fire is more active, significantly shortening the time required to practice the scorching sun technique. During this time, Su Po was content to remain indoors and focus on his training. His aura became even more concentrated, as if seamlessly integrated, exuding a faintly ethereal aura. Both the scorching sun technique and the mountain refining body art had already reached perfection in the 12th level of key refining. Now, as soon as he obtained the foundation establishment pill, he could attempt to build his foundation. Furthermore, after this period of sunlight, his complete brown superhuman body had seen significant improvements in all its attributes, including defense, strength, and speed. Lacking a comparison, Su Po was unsure of his current level of Immortal Cultivator. Only a real fight could reveal the truth. Chapter 200 Dispute in the Town. Kung Ki, in the side hall, was the first to successfully draw Ki into his body, becoming a cultivator of the first level of Ki refining. The others, due to their inferior aptitude, were still at the drawing Ki into the body stage. However, the courtyard's rich spiritual energy meant they were making rapid progress. Early in the morning, Su Poman awoke from his large bed, tucked the two women in, changed his clothes, and headed straight out of the courtyard, heading along the mountain path towards Guangqi Peak. His purpose was to retrieve the cultivation resources left by Yang Hong, including the foundation establishment pill, which he needed. Although he intuitively felt he could successfully complete his foundation building without it, he decided to use its medicinal properties to overcome his bottleneck, just to be on the safe side. Under the influence of the ancient breath-hardening technique, Su Poman's cultivation level remained at the 4th level of key refining, thus drawing little attention. As he walked, he noticed a slight shift in the gazes of passers-by. See? He is the direct disciple of Wu Yanggongfeng. He was in great glory before, but now that Yanggongfeng is gone, he has lost his power. The building collapsed, which is normal. Without a backer, his life must not be as glorious as before. There are rumors that Yanggongfeng died outside. I don't know if it is true or not. There must be a basis for smoke without fire, otherwise no one would dare to talk nonsense, and people will forget about him after he leaves. I heard that the 7-sex martial competition is about to begin. I wonder how many disciples our sect plans to send to participate. It should be called the 6-sex martial competition now. Don't forget, the Blood Goose sect has been wiped out. I don't know which master did it, but it was a good thing that it was wiped out. The righteous forces in the Nanayu Kingdom's Immortal Cultivation world have become much stronger. If you can win a place in the 6-sex martial competition, the sect will reward you with some spirit stones or other resources, and even foundation building pills that can increase the chance of building a foundation. I guess those brothers in the Upper Dao Academy are starting to get ready. The foundation establishment pill is only awarded to the top 10 in the martial arts competition. With our strength, even receiving some spirit stones is quite a bonus. Su Poman felt a slight unease as he listened to the chatter around him. While others didn't know Yang Hong's condition, he knew it all too well. He hadn't expected rumors to spread within the sect after only 3 months of absence. Someone must be secretly pushing the issue. Arriving at the Sword Monastery, Su Poman ignored the others' surprised glances and headed straight for the pentagonal black building. As he walked, a voice suddenly called from the side of the road. "Young Master Su." Su Poman turned and saw it was Zhang Yu, squatting beside a half-man-high black ravine rock on the side of the road, acting as if he were secretly taking a shit. "Senior brother Zhang, why aren't you sitting in the Wanjianfang today?" Su Poman asked curiously. Zhang Yu showed a bitter smile and explained, "Master Su, ever since Lord Ouyang left, that fellow Tangzer has directly occupied Wanjianfang in the name of an inner disciple. He has taken all the goods in the shop for himself, including the training rooms on the upstairs floors. I was also kicked out. The person sitting in the hall now is a disciple who has a good relationship with him. How could this happen?" Su Po's eyes showed a cold look. "This is too ugly to look at. Come with me to meet him." Master Su, I advise you not to go. As the saying goes, there is life, there is hope. Just bear with it this time, Zhang Yu persuaded earnestly. Su Poman's right cheek was pinched by the teeth, and he groaned. He couldn't help but ask, what do you mean, young Master Su? Tang Zebin's cultivation has reached the 11th level of key refining. He's quite powerful. Moreover, he's now gathered a group of disciples from the Upper Dao Academy to hang around. It's not wise for us to cause trouble now, Zhang Yu said with a look of fear, clearly having suffered losses before. Su Poman was speechless upon hearing this. That's it? Then I must teach Tang Ze a lesson today. At most, my true cultivation level will be exposed. Now that I have the soul devouring ability, I'm not afraid of some old monster taking over my body due to my special constitution. I'm actually hoping someone will take over my body, just in time for my soul devouring to feast on me. Just come with me. I'll teach him a lesson later, Su Poman said, turning and leaving, not caring whether Zhang Yu followed or not. Now that things had come to this, whether Zhang Yu believed it or not, whether he dared to come, was his own business. Zhang Yu hesitated for only a moment before a look of determination flashed across his eyes. He quickly followed Su Poman, silently following behind him all the way, his gaze scanning the surroundings as if searching for the best escape route. Before long, the two reached the entrance of Wanjianfang. Su Poman walked in without hesitation. Upon entering, he saw a skinny, middle-aged man lying leisurely at the counter. A large black mole jutted out from the corner of his eye, and he looked sickly, though his cultivation was impressive, perhaps reaching the 9th level of the key refining stage. Feel free to look around. If you want to buy anything, come here and ask for the price. Wanjianfang is a fair place, the skinny young man said weakly, raising his eyes slightly. Then, catching sight of Zhang Yu behind Su Poman, he straightened his back, his eyes wide, and shouted in a stern, cowardly voice, Zhang Yu, how dare you come here again? Did I give you a light spanking last time? Have you learned your lesson, Pa? A resounding slap echoed. The skinny young man was stunned by the blow. He stared blankly at Su Poman before him, spitting onto the ground, a mouthful of blood mingling with two of his back teeth. Zhang Yu, who had entered the room shortly after, was also startled by Su Poman's slap and said, oh my god, he actually hit me, damn it, where did you come from, you little brat? How dare you slap your grandfather? I'll fight you. Wu Luren excitedly channeled all his spiritual power and swung his hand at Su Poman, his palm creating a rapid whistling sound. In his rage, he didn't even bother to ask the attacker's identity. From Su Poman's perspective, Wu Luren's movement seemed to be in slow motion, posing no threat at all. He simply shifted his feet, easily dodging the full force of his palm, and then swung back. Pa. The other half of Wu Luren's face made close contact with the back of Su Poman's hand, his body tumbling several times in the air before slamming heavily onto the counter. Su Poman had actually controlled his strength, not using too much. If he had used all his strength, the man before him would have been reduced to a bloody mist. This effect was primarily due to Wu Luren's excessive force, and after being dodged, his center of gravity shifted slightly. Where did you broken-backed dog, dare to occupy the Wanjianfang, the place my master left me? Su Poman's voice, imbued with spiritual power, echoed throughout the Wanjianfang. Wu Luren felt his head buzzing, as if 1,000 flies had burrowed into it. After channeling his spiritual energy, he gradually recovered. He stood up, glared at Su Poman fiercely, then slapped his storage bag, pulled out a sound transmission note, and whispered a few words rapidly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.